Welcome in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is Thursday, May 22nd, right here on Jocks 94.5. SEC baseball tournament in full swing. We'll get you updated on that. Crimson Tide eliminated. Auburn gets their start today. More college football news. We'll update you on the portal. We haven't updated you on UAB in quite some time in the portal. They've had some interesting entries. There is a very interesting entry for a potential national championship contender. Well, not entry, but entry to their roster from another roster. So I guess entered from another place, but we'll talk about that. Get to your calls. I don't know if we will talk stick shifts today. I don't know if we will talk best graduation year Billboard 100, but I'm sure we will find some nonsense to discuss at some point.
We can do top shows in 2006, 1996. Yeah, John was 99.
Well, so here's the very difficult part of that is
number one show.
No, your era when you graduated was just opening the door, and it may not have been wide open.
No, we didn't have streaming yet.
Not at all?
No,
really?
No. Streaming started when I was in college.
Well,
and Netflix.
He graduated in 2019.
He doesn't count. Damien's out
by the way,
on that conversation.
Just quickly, did you hear them talking about Missouri's Mount Rushmore today?
No, I did not.
Somebody tried to call in and put Shane Ray on the Missouri Mount Rushmore of athletics. Damien, are you guys doing athletics or football?
Just football.
That's a little bit more acceptable, but still. Like, I mean, Shane Ray had a good year. He had a solid player.
One good year.
We're talking Mount Rushmore. Like, it's once again, Missouri played football pre-2011. I don't know if folks that listen to that morning show are aware of that, but that did actually take place.
You are talking to the morning show again. They graduated, 2-3 years or so ago?
They appeal to the younger audience.
You don't say. You don't say. I was just surprised to hear that. So,
well, I don't think Shane Ray would have made mine, if you want me to be completely honest. No.
Who was the other defensive player of the year that was like right after him?
Michael Sam?
Yeah. Would he have made yours?
I think they had one other one.
They had a couple.
They had like three DNs that were amazing.
Coney Ely was one.
Coney Ely.
I think he played on that Panthers team.
There's another guy that plays for the Cardinals now that was really good. Marcus Golden.
Darius Robinson played at Missouri, plays for the Cardinals now. I mean, he was drafted last year.
No, he was a D tackle. No, there's a defensive tackle that I played with actually in New York that was a first-round pick that was a dude. I don't even remember his name. He's undersized D tackle.
He's got to be on the Mount Rushmore of Missouri football if you can't remember his name.
Marcus Golden was a defensive end that I think is still on the show. But yeah, I mean, Missouri's had a lot of really good players. The funny thing is Chase Daniel's probably on there. You know what I mean? Like Chase Daniel is probably their quarterback on Mount Rushmore, which is wild, but definitely appropriate.
I just thought it was interesting that Shane Ray would be one that would get votes. Again, had a solid year.
Did Dory
Green Beckham? I mean, for what he did in Missouri, I think he's in the conversation.
No, not over the other guy that they had in like 2008. Jeremy Macklin. Macklin was straight dude.
I didn't hear Kellen Winslow's name mentioned.
Senior.
Junior didn't play there, so he wouldn't be on the list. That's a Pro Football Hall of Famer.
Yes.
That
not important.
That should be spot number one, and then you move on. Would Gary Pinkel not be? I don't know if they're doing coaches or not. Just players, he says. That makes perfect sense. Just players. So punters and kickers not in. Got it.
Blaine Gabbert make it for him.
There's also a defensive back, Roger Worley, class of 2007, Pro Football Hall of Fame, 40 career interceptions, 7 Pro Bowls, 5-time All-Pro in the NFL. Hadn't seen the tape, but I would say he probably also deserves to be in.
Yes.
From Missouri. So,
I don't know, but
no, we're not getting sucked into this. We're not doing Missouri Statue of Liberty.
We want to give the people what they want. And that's Missouri Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, no, we're not going to get into it. We're not going to do it. What we are going to get into is, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, nothing. I have nothing to say. I'm just going to rip on Missouri, but I'm not going to. I'm going to resist the urge.
All right. Well, if there's no streaming,
Eli. I want Eli to call in, but he won't do it.
Manning?
Drinkwitz?
I actually want Eli Manning to call in because Damien always talks about what a bad quarterback he was.
I don't think he's probably not listening, but Drink might be.
Well, if he is, Coach, you're 800-239-9569 if you want to get in. We usually don't hear about the things we've said about Missouri until media days. And then he tells us how mad and disappointed he is
he's listening for sure.
We didn't pick him to win every game. So
no, he knows better than that.
Speaking of winning every game, we had a little bit of a conversation about that yesterday with one specific coach here in the state of Alabama. A similar reaction is happening in the world of college football yet again. And I'm beginning to wonder, can we even cover things anymore? Not just college football, but just anything. Listen to Matt Rhule yesterday on, is this just a Nebraska podcast we'll reference
Huskers
it as?
Online, I think part of On3 Network.
So the Nebraska website, talking to some guys about Nebraska football, and the playoff comes up. This is what the head coach of the Huskers had to say.
What is best for Nebraska, in your opinion? Is it 12, 14, 16? Does it matter?
Oh, the more spots, the better, man. Make that thing 40 and let's go. I mean,
is there any portion of you that feels like he is attempting to make a push for a 40-team college football playoff there?
I wouldn't say he's making a push, but I think a tongue-in-cheek comment that people are probably overreacting to, just knowing the world and the times that we live in.
Well, you're not on social, so you're not seeing it, but it is a mass overreaction.
You think?
There are people that truly believe that he is essentially trying to push for a 40-team playoff.
People are dumb, and I've never really spent time worrying about dumb people. They're on their own.
There's no portion of this in which people feel like he wants this, right?
Did people listen to the article or to listen to the audio?
No, but here's more on Matt Rhule discussing the college football playoff.
well, I think, again, you're talking about a league there. Again, we play 9 conference games where some others play 8. So I think that puts you at an automatic distance. Like you look at 2 years ago, we're 5-7, right? And you think about the years with Scott where he was 5-7. Now you add in one more group of 5 team, you take out one more Big Ten team, and actually now you're 6-6. The years where you're like this year, you're 6-6. Now you're 7-5, and you're just adding another win in. And so I think the more spots, I think if they do go to where it's guaranteed, hey, you get 4 at-large bids,
right?
If you can play your way into those things,
right?
You just think about playing meaningful games in Memorial Stadium in November, December, and January, where the weather starts to be a real factor. Every time we play UCLA or USC, the first thing I do is say, hey, where is it? When is it? Like, I want it to be as cold as possible. Now they're smart. They play each other at the end of the year and sometimes the week before the final week. So they're kind of protected from some cold weather games. But as we start thinking about the college football playoff, like, yeah, I want to play those games. I want to play those games in the Midwest, in the Northeast, in the North. I want to play them in cold areas to help the Big Ten. So the more spots, the better. We're playing in a really, really tough league. We're playing really, really good teams. And you know what? If you play in this league, you deserve a chance to, get to the postseason and see what you can do.
I will say this, Greg. I know the whole thing with the Tennessee players going out shirtless before the game. What was that game time temperature kick? Do we know?
No. Probably 6 o'clock.
40s, something like that. I mean, it was going to be chilly, but it wasn't going to be.
No, it wasn't like outrageous.
I do want Nebraska or a team like Nebraska, Minnesota to make a playoff just to get literally an ice bowl. I mean, I want to see a playoff game in single digits.
I think it will happen.
It will.
I'll be honest with you. When we were at Notre Dame last year, it was close.
What was the game time temp?
The feels like temp's different than the game time temp. I feel like the feels like temp was like 12.
I'll take it.
To 15.
But I also want to see snow. I want to see all the snow shoveled off
so
to
here
the
we
side.
go. All right, so it's not cold. You asked for cold.
I want to see it like shoveled off to the side. It doesn't have to be like pouring snow right now, but I want to see some snowflakes coming down. Like that would be fun. That's the beauty of having a game on campus. And I mean, that's a home playoff advantage that I would like to see. I mean, we say advantage. I mean, I don't, maybe against certain schools, but you play a school from Florida. I don't know if that still even is applicable anymore because there's so many people on rosters from other places. I don't think it'll make a big difference nowadays. Everybody's got to deal with it. So cold is cold, not just for one team, not just for one sideline. So, it's kind of mind blowing to me that you can hear these comments and you can hear Matt Rhule talk about it. It is interesting the way that he references the seasons now, because we've talked about this. We all, including us, fans, members of the media, voters, everyone, are going to have to continue to reprogram our brains as to what is an 8-win team versus a 10-win team. It's a little bit of what you discussed yesterday, that a record does not solely define a team.
Shouldn't.
You're not just a 9-win team. You're not just a 10-win team. You're not just a 7-win team. You have to look at the schedule. You have to look at their opponents. You have to look at the way the schedule played out. There's just a lot of things in play.
Right.
So it's a little odd to think that, we haven't really started to figure that out yet, but we also hadn't seen it for a long period of time. Then the question becomes, with what Matt Rhule says there about their league and their schedule within their league.
Correct.
What's going to happen? Because what has Nebraska recently done? Canceled a series with Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right?
Correct.
So I think when you hear a lot of this, you would say, oh, well, Nebraska probably going to say, oh, let's go with the tough schedule. We're going to move into a new era. We'll go out there and schedule everybody. Well, that obviously has not been the case.
Yeah.
So, and I'll give Nebraska credit. Traditionally, historically, I feel like they have not been afraid to schedule some heavier non-conference games. I'm trying to think back on it now. I don't think that's been like a real problem for them, but are they going to go back to it moving forward because they had one on the table and they took it off?
Yes. But at the same time, I think when you look at Nebraska and the Big Ten in general, like, cooler heads will prevail here. We are just operating currently in a world in which Indiana last year was benefited by having a remarkably manageable schedule. And everyone, being a prisoner of the moment, is going to look at Indiana and say, golly, they made the playoff last year and they weren't that great. And they really had this going in their non-conference. And they're going to say, oh, we want to make the playoff too. Let's make it easy for us. And maybe Nebraska is one of those few schools that can actually withstand a substandard home schedule. But there's not many that can. Like, Indiana fans at some point here pretty soon are not going to show up to support their game against Alcorn State. They're not going to be fired up about the matchup between them and Indiana State. Like, it's not going to do it for them.
You're always going to have the other side of that says, give us a game that's more affordable. Give us a game that not everybody in our region wants to try to get tickets to go to, so on and so forth.
Okay,
which makes sense for some of it, but with where we're headed in its totality, it's not going to continue to make a lot of sense other than players getting reps in games. If we don't have walk-ons anymore, that's going to be another part of that discussion that's taken out of play. Because for a long time, it's also been like, hey, there's guys that work hard that deserve to get a couple reps in a game, and they can't always do that. Now you got to get your freshman reps in every game, it seems like. You got to get your younger guys that are going to be with you or without you or portal, whatever. You got to get them playing. And that part of that discussion might even be gone now moving forward. I don't know.
I don't know. I think that in time, and Alabama, look at their example this year, playing two teams in the non-conference, both Wisconsin and Florida State. Both are home and home. Like, in time, people are going to follow that lead. And people want those games. They want those games. And not everybody wants to play and get their teeth kicked in against quality competition. So it might actually be slightly tougher to schedule Indiana today than it was, say, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to necessarily crush Indiana for their non-conference schedule, because they might have tried to reach out to schools like, hang on, dude, you're coming off a playoff spot. Like, we're probably not going to try to take an L here at the beginning of the season. Whereas had they scheduled them last year, yeah, we'll play Indiana all day long, twice on Saturday. Let's ride. So it'll be interesting, I think, to see. And in time, people want to see matchups. And I've been saying this forever. If there was a way for us to relinquish control from the athletic directors when it comes to their own scheduling priorities, and we were to make it a third-party endeavor, and the conference commissioners could all get together. They do so with the playoffs. They organize matchups in the playoffs, did they not?
Yep.
Like, make the college football playoff committee organize a non-conference schedule that everybody can agree to. And then, hey, we all get a piece of the pie. And then you take the inventory and the amount of money that you make in these non-conference games and you can distribute them evenly. And now, hey, that's another revenue stream for these conferences. Just like hey, guess what? The college football playoff now owns everybody's non-conference.
Ooh.
Think about how good that'd be. Oh, well, that's not fair to the FCS. All right, cool. Give them a sliver.
The first thing that comes to mind there is that's actually an interesting thought moving forward. So basically, when we all talk about the NCAA going away, you're saying this is all hypothetical, and you're not even saying that you want this or think this should happen, but the college football playoff becomes the new governing body.
Which is already kind of is in a roundabout way. The problem is
with direction from a few other outlets.
But the college football playoff committee is essentially.
I get it. Yeah.
I mean, basically,
but
Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti have power over the college football playoff committee, which would essentially have power over the rest of college football. Like if college football playoff became the governing body, that'd be amazing. And hey, guess what? Every conference, hey, Big 12, you own your conference schedule. That's it. You own those 9 games. SEC the same, Big 10 the same, ACC the same. You guys handle that however you want to handle that. It's fine. You guys own that. We own your non-conference. But guess what? Just like we distribute X percentage of the college football playoff, and for people in this footprint, the SEC gets a little over 30% of the college football playoff revenues every year. Guess what? SEC now gets 30% of the non-conference game revenues that are being played in the Pac-12. Yes, the Pac-12.
First thing that I thought of right there when you said that is imagine getting to a point where that committee is choosing the participants in the playoff, and let's say Alabama gets jobbed, yet they gave Alabama a really tough schedule.
Yeah.
And people looking at the committee saying, well, hold on, you're going to give them the 12 seed, and you made them play at Texas A&M, at Auburn, at Georgia, and then had to play Clemson in the non-con.
The non-con would be the only thing that could really be frustrating.
You gave them 2 Power 5 teams in the non-con, one that was in the playoffs last year, and you're not going to give them credit for that. Like that becomes a whole new. You think people are like starting to clamor for the computers now? Wait till that happens.
We'll have the computers do the make everyone's schedule equal.
You can't.
Oh, everybody's playing the 65th ranked strength of schedule.
Yeah, that's not.
Like make everyone's schedule. I don't care. Do it a random blind draw. I don't care. Just make the games
way to
good.
Make it equal because it's one team's strength of schedule week 1 is 10 times different than it's going to be week 8. I mean, even if you tried to do it before the season, it's going to be totally different by the end of the season. So that doesn't even work.
Well, tough.
It's an interesting thought.
Life's not fair. I tell my kids that all the time.
Well, I tell
maybe you need to be told that
I tell
too.
them every day, and it doesn't necessarily work. But we're trying. We're trying to hammer that thing home.
Life's not fair. I want to go eat at Soho.
Well, not everybody gets to do that, kid. Maybe tomorrow night. One thing that does work, the products from your CBD store. If you have a pet that has arthritis or anxiety, we have a pet in our household struggles to get around, and she gets her dog treats from your CBD store, helps her move around just a little bit better. Maybe the pet gets upset when people knock at the door or the storms come in. They have products for that anxiety as well. Skincare, gut health, energy, weight loss, all for you at your CBD. So they just want to make your daily routine better focus throughout the course of the day. They have products for that at your CBD store. First company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements. Yes, they have the stamp seal on those products. The largest brick and mortar CBD retailer in the world. Visit one of their 4 locations, Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cajun Cleaver, Trustful just off 459, and now downtown in 5 Points. Your CBD store where good health hits home. We've got Mike Nolan coming up at 7:30 this morning to preview Birmingham, Michigan, head coach of the Michigan Panthers. There could be, based on the injury report, some intriguing quarterback news inside that conversation. And then David DeLucci recaps the SEC tournament and previews the SEC tournament both at the same time at 9:30. The coach Wimp Sanderson at 9. All that and more starting next on Mac and Cube in the morning. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, Thursday, May 22nd, 7:23 a.m. Jocks 94.5. Alabama eliminated from the SEC baseball tournament yesterday in a game. I don't know the final number of how long this game took.
It had to have been 5.5.
It was, I think, bottom of the third or fourth, and we left for a 7-year-old baseball game, came back, and there was an inning left to play. And that was about 25 minutes from home. And I could not believe, I thought they were showing a replay of it. You had 30 combined hits in the game. Of course, multiple pitching changes. 15-10, Tennessee gets the win and they'll move on. But it's not actually great for the tournament, GMAC, because it felt like you'd be okay with the one cancellation and you played again the next morning. But I mean, this moved everything back even a little bit more.
Well, talking to folks down there, I mean, there's a possibility because it's one and done. So it's all hands on deck. You know what I mean? So the games, there's going to be more pitching changes. There's going to be more substitutes, like playoff baseball. You watch a playoff baseball game, it has a tendency to go a little bit longer because every single at bat, every single pitch matters. This is playoff baseball and single elimination, like you're playing for your life. Now, obviously, Bama will go to the postseason. Hopefully, they host a regional. We'll see if they do. I think they needed yesterday to probably make that happen, but fingers crossed that things kind of bounce their way. But if you look at it in playoff baseball, Major League playoff baseball, the scores are like 2-1. So when it's 13-6 or whatever it was yesterday, and they were this close to getting a run rule, like how many times? Bases loaded. I mean, look, even as a Bama fan, I'm like, oh my gosh, just end my misery. You know, it's like, this is tough. This is a bummer. So either way, I think the length of game is now something that I did not consider, an unintended consequence of the one and done.
It was the 7th longest 9-inning game in SEC tournament history, 3 hours, 58 minutes. Also 17th time in tournament history, both teams scored 10 runs in a game. Alabama pretty much cleared out its bullpen in this one. Like you said, it's going to be, everybody's going to be available. And you're just going to, you got to try to do what you can to win the game, survive in advance. And it will not be Alabama moving on. But either way, an entertaining game and day yesterday. Texas A&M smashes Mississippi State. They'll get Auburn today. That game was 9-0. Georgia goes down to Oklahoma 3-2 yesterday. That was a little bit of a surprise as the 5 seed goes down to the 12 seed. And then Ole Miss takes out Florida last night 3-1. So your schedule today will be 11 a.m., Texas A&M and Auburn, 14 seed and the 6 seed. Tennessee and Texas will orange out the Hoover Met, the 8 seed and the 1 seed at 3, and then you'll get Oklahoma Vanderbilt tonight. So you do have some room today, some breathing room time-wise, where shouldn't be too much of an issue if you're able to keep things at a normal pace. But either way, it was a little bit odd yesterday. The weather's going to be a little bit odd too, Greg, why you always need to have Polar Bear services on standby.
Yeah, Polar Bear services at my house yesterday. They've been amazing. I've always appreciated the service that I received from Wes and the guys. They're just first class in every possible way, and they do such a great job. I got the shower fixed. They've also fixed the HVAC system multiple times. Found actually a little leak yesterday in one of my coils, so that's fun. Fingers crossed for warranty, but we shall see. Either way, Wes and the guys, they just do it the right way, man. Like they're the ones that are actually going through the warranty process right now, seeing if I can get that evap coil replaced. Hopefully we can, but just things like that, the little things that other companies force you to do, Wes and his guys take care of it themselves. And I always appreciate the professionalism and the service that we receive from Polar Bear Service. I know you guys will too. They can also help with electrical. Right now, storm season, still very much in the mix here in central Alabama and throughout the state. So they can install one of those whole home generators for you as well. Highly recommend everything that you'll experience with Polar Bear Services. So if you're thinking about making some adjustments to your plumbing, electrical, heat, or air, just pick up the phone and call the Bear. It's 205-497-BEAR. It's 497-BEAR.
Mike Nolan, head coach of the Michigan Panthers, taking on the Birmingham Stallions, joins us this weekend next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 7:31, Thursday, May 22nd, right here on Jocks 94.5. Going to go to the Higginbotham hotline. Head coach of the Michigan Panthers, Mike Nolan, joining us now. They will take on the Birmingham Stallions this weekend. And, Coach, I see the injury report from yesterday, and we see Bryce Perkins' name on the list and been limited in practice a little bit this week. What do we make of this? Should we really read something into this, or is this precautionary? Where is your quarterback situation right now?
No, Bryce will be out this week. He'll not play in the ball game. So it'll be Danny Etling and Rocky Lombardi will be our two quarterbacks. And then we brought in another quarterback, Colby Suits, to be our third one for the game. So yeah, it's unfortunate for us, but yeah, he'll be out. So, but hopefully we get him back. Heading into the playoffs is kind of why we're making sure that he's well.
Is it? I mean, if it were a gotta have it situation, would he be available, or is this more precautionary? Hey, let's not make anything worse because in 2 weeks we really got to hit the ground running.
I think it might be a little bit different, but that's a tough one to answer because it is still bothering him. He's not full go. He makes so many plays with using his legs as well.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that he's as healthy as he can be. It's not only for us, but for his future. He might have an opportunity when the season's over to go to the NFL or Canada or something like that. And if he does, we want to make sure he's 100% for that opportunity. I mean, so anyhow, that's kind of where it's at.
Well, it's been fun to watch his resurgence. I mean, covering him in college, Coach. I mean, he was a great athlete, but for whatever reason, there were just too many ups and downs. It's been kind of one of the great stories of the UFL season is seeing his progress and seeing his development. And he's always had the playmaking ability, but now making it on a more regular basis. What can you say about his growth?
Well, he has had a lot of growth. He came to us last year about 3 games into the season and quickly, got into the lineup and stuff. And then he got hurt a year ago as well a couple of times. And so it slowed down his progress. But I think the biggest thing that's helped him the most is just his familiarity with the offense, as well as our offensive coordinator, Marcel Belfay. The more he became familiar with, the strengths of Bryce, I think he's done an outstanding job of putting Bryce in situations to be successful too. So it's been a great, pair for the two of them to work together like they have. But I think, obviously most of the credit must go to Bryce because he's the one that's playing the game on the field. And he's extended a lot of plays and made plays with his legs. And quarterbacks not only in our league but in the NFL, that's kind of. Patrick Mahomes is a great example. I mean, he extends, a good third to a half of the plays that they call, and it's that second play that really makes a lot of quarterbacks makes them stand out, and that's been the case for Bryce this year. He's really done a great job.
What a luxury, though, to have Danny Etling to go lean on now, Coach. He rotated these quarterbacks early, and Mike Nolan, head coach of the Michigan Panthers, joining us on the Higginbotham hotline. They've got the Birmingham Stallions this weekend. A guy that I know you've trusted to be the starter for your team, knows the offense, has run it well, a veteran. To be able to lean on him at a time like this late in the season, what a luxury to have on your squad.
It is. I would agree. He's done a great job. He's been with us a couple of years as well. He came to us last year at the beginning, so he only, as far as being with us and being in the system with Marcel, our OC, they both have been in about the same amount of time. But Danny's been outstanding too. The two of them have competed all along, and one of the unique things is just the relationship between the two guys. They're very close, and that's, you can appreciate that as a coach and as a team member, just because there's not this animosity towards one another. They compete, they play, they split the games, for half the season at the beginning of the year, and then obviously. Bryce played into the starting role, but having Danny is a real plus. He did a great job the other day in the ball game that we won. That was an important game against a very good Houston team, and so he's like you said. I mean, it's a real benefit to have a couple. Last year we went through 4 quarterbacks, so we kind of know what it's like to play musical chairs a little bit with the quarterback position. But when you have to do it, you have to do it. Birmingham, the team obviously we're going to play this week, has had to do that this year, and they've done an outstanding job with the different quarterbacks they've had as well. It's the most important position on the field, and if you can continue to put players in that role as quarterback that win for you, it doesn't get much better than that.
When you look at the fact that you are playing Birmingham this week, Coach, and you'll play them again with everything on the line 2 weeks from now. How does that influence your preparation? I would imagine it won't be vanilla, but maybe there'll be things that you're setting up this week and have on the menu this week that might have a slight change of pace in 2 weeks when you play it up, when you tee it up for all the marbles. So how does knowing your postseason opponent impact how you game plan this week?
It's a great question. And for our league, well, first off, we did it a year ago. Last year we played in the last game of the season, and then we came right back and played them again. And they were two distinctly different ball games. So when it really gets down to it, it's really about the players. I mean, both teams have their scheme. It's not like you reinvent the wheel each week to try and get ready for them. You'll tweak something after the first game and things like that. But both teams, including the players, know each other extremely well. Some of our players last year, and I'm going to guess it's the same this year, some of our players last year, we had about 4 guys that lived with Stallions in town here. And that was, every day they would see, they were their roommates. And so this year, I imagine there probably is a couple of players on our team with the same thing going. So the players know each other very well on and off the field. And it makes for even a better game because it just gets down to guys playing as hard as they can and not worried about what this guy's like or that guy's like as far as, how he feels, things like that. But it's like I said, when it gets right down to it, it's really player on player. And I think they're all very familiar with one another in the games. And so it makes for a good game. But like I said, you don't go overboard in changing things. At least we haven't, because the game's about the players, and so we try to keep it in that realm as often as we can.
Mike Nolan joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Birmingham facing Michigan this weekend. I wanted to give you a chance to speak on it publicly with us, and I've asked you about it. We've talked about it, seen him in games. We've interviewed him in games, but Toa Taua is one of the cooler stories in the UFL this year, and I would just love to hear from your perspective now, after he's done it for half of a season, what he's meant to your club, what he's meant to your team to come in a week after he was cleaning golf carts and working at a golf course, and now he's become basically your hammer in your backfield and a guy that you rely heavily on.
Yeah, Tao's done a great job. He came to us 2 years ago, went through training camp. We released him at the end of training camp. And then last year, about midseason, we needed to bring him back because we had an injury, and he did a great job last year. Well, the same thing happened this year. Goes through training camp, and we end up, releasing him and have to bring him back just after about 3 weeks into the season. We brought him back after. And he has done an outstanding job, like you said. He's exceeded all expectations on my part. But I will say, his position coach here was on the table for him all the time, Jordan Pavlison. So I have to say, I've been wrong twice letting him go, but he is certainly one of our mainstays right now. He's done a great job. He's a tremendous team player as well. Does a lot of the special teams. He's not on the punt pro, but he's on 3 other special teams. So he contributes an awful lot, not just at the running back position, but on the special teams. And, I think he's going to open some eyes in the NFL as well. I think there'll be some people that'll be looking at him and bring him in and give him a shot that he didn't have before, because they didn't have enough, tape that they thought was warranted him getting the shot. But like I said, the number one thing that stands out with him, aside from the fact that he's a good player and he gets your attention on the field, but he's a great team player. I mean, he's just very unselfish. And when you call his number, I mean, he steps up. Boy, if it's a critical situation, just like against Arlington, we had the last play of the game right there on the 1, and sure enough, he puts it in. And the very next play, we need to get the extra point to win the game, and he gets the ball. There's critical 4th downs. We use him. He's really been a pleasant surprise for me. Like I said, there's other people in this building that would look at you and say, yeah, Nolan was surprised, but the rest of us knew he was pretty good.
It's got to be pretty rewarding for you, Coach. Stories like that. I mean, you've been around and have done so many amazing things. I mean, you've been a head coach in the league. You've now you've been a linebacker coach forever. You've coached in college. You've coached in pro. But that has to be one of the more attractive parts of coaching in the UFL are stories like Toa and how he just keeps grinding and all of a sudden he's getting a chance and now he's playing at a high level. So how much does that story impact why you're doing what you're doing now with Michigan Panthers?
It's 100% of why I'm doing what I'm doing. I retired for a couple of years. I've got 10 grandkids. I was having a really good time just playing with them and being grandpa. And this opportunity came up, and for a number of reasons, I decided to do it again. And I've been so pleasantly. I wasn't surprised at all. But the league is made up of so many individuals that look, they're all. Every man is getting up off the mat. That's how I like to say it. All these guys have been knocked down. Most all the guys have had NFL tryouts or played in the NFL, and they want to get back to the NFL. And some guys just love to play football. But every player in our league that I've had the experience of over the last 3 years has been so refreshing to coach because they're all in it for the right reasons. They love the game. And they want to go, they want to keep playing possibly, but they love what they're doing. Everybody gets paid the same. The long snapper makes the same amount of money as the starting quarterback. So there's never that issue of money between players at all. You don't have a backup making more than a starter and blah, blah, blah. So everybody on the team just kind of that's not even on the plate. So your teams become extremely close to one another because they're not competing on anything really other than trying to come together as a football team and win games. And then naturally they all want to have good take. They all want to play and be seen so that they can, whatever it is they want to go forward and play or they just want their friends and family to see that that they're good football players. But all the peripheral external things that sometimes get in the way, we don't have that in our league. If you're here for the right reason, or we let you go. Because if you're not here for the right reasons being to play football and hopefully get another shot. And if that's, if you're here for that reason, then you stick. And so whether it's, Tao or any player on our football team, I'd say the same thing about them. They're all here for the right reasons. And I just love coaching them. I got to tell you, I really do. If it wasn't that way, I don't know that I'd be doing it because, like I said, I've already retired once. It was just, after a while, sometimes it loses its love sometimes in situations, but not in this one. This is outstanding, and not just the players in our league, but the GMs, the other coaches, everybody in this league kind of has a pretty good bond. And I've got tremendous respect for everybody in the league because every one of them, without exception, has got to be here for the right reasons because there's no other reason to be here. I mean, it's not like guys are walking away with their pockets full of money. I mean, you're in here because you love football.
I just want to make sure I heard that right. You said that the long snapper is making the same as the starting quarterback. We might need to reassess that, Coach. I'm all for equality when it comes to a roster. I love that everyone's the same, but come on now, we got to adjust that a little bit.
Well, I don't know. It's kind of nice the way it's working. I kind of like it. I'm sure the quarterbacks would have won a little bit more, but they did, about it. They had that CBA that they went through with the players. They passed it and all. They ratified it. But anyhow, they did up it where all three quarterbacks now do get paid the full salary, which is nice because we really are trying to. The quarterback is a position that we're all trying to develop guys and get them in our league. So the more good we can do for those guys, the better. So that's a real positive.
Coach, we always appreciate the time. Really good stuff. Thanks for hopping on with us this morning, and we will catch up with you soon.
Thank you, Cole. Thank you, Greg. Appreciate it.
There you go. Mike Nolan, head coach of the Michigan Panthers. That game's going to be Saturday at 2 on ABC, following Arlington at Memphis at 11 on ABC. Friday night, you'll get St. Louis at San Antonio, 7 p.m. on Fox. Sunday, D.C. at Houston, 3 p.m. on Fox. But you heard it right there. No Bryce Perkins this weekend. And it is odd, Greg, how this is such a familiar spot because I had both of the games, Michigan in the finale of the regular season at Protective, Michigan in the first round of the playoffs the next week at Protective. Now these two will play at Protective here, and then in 2 weeks, the first round of the playoffs. The only difference, there's another game in between than last year. The familiarity that will be there for this staff, for some of these players, just having done it a year ago.
I think it helps a lot. And the familiarity and the personnel, and you look at the retention from last year, Michigan's one of the few teams where I feel like they have a lot of guys that were playing last year and are now back. Now, there's a handful of guys on Birmingham, for example, that played pivotal roles last year that are back, but the turnover in this league is significant. So I think if you can develop some of that continuity between staff and roster, that's going to go a long way. Okay, we will, but you heard it. No Bryce Perkins for Michigan this weekend against Birmingham. That's big news.
You'll get him in 2 weeks again in the playoffs. I would assume he'll be ready for that. And that's one of the main reasons he won't go in this game, as he's listed out, limited in practice with an ankle injury this week. We'll continue that conversation. And apparently some massive news potentially as it pertains to the college football playoff. We'll tell you what maybe just happened next on Mac and Cube in the morning. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. A lot of college football teams chasing some bling this year. It's 7:50, Thursday, May 22nd, Jocks 94.5. What are they going to have to go through to get it in the future? That's potentially on the table. One place you can get bling, though, is Brombergs.
Brombergs, great, and a place that I've been shopping for a long time. I know you guys will feel the exact same way the second you walk in the door at one of their two locations. Both are fantastic. You can go to the Summit, or you can go to Mountain Brook Village, and you'll realize just the level that they have in their store and the beauty of some of the jewelry that they have in their store is just amazing. And look, buying this jewelry is buying something that's going to be in your family and potentially for multiple generations. You're going to get one-of-a-kind jewelry like natural diamonds, gold, silver, platinum, you name it, they got it. And they have the amazing staff that can help lead you along the way so that you make a great decision. And it's wedding season, so a bunch of people are registered at Brombergs. Go and get those gifts at Brombergs as well. You can go and see them. It's Brombergs. Been in business for nearly 200 years, and their service and all the amazing things they have there set them apart for sure. So go see Brombergs in Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit.
Great interview with Mike Nolan, head coach of the Michigan Panthers. If you missed that, it'll be up at the podcast. You can go back, watch it on YouTube, jocksfm.com, or the app. You can get all those podcasts, watch and listen live every day there. Ross Dellinger reported earlier today that college football playoff executives were scheduled for a call. Many of them expected to adopt a straight seeding model for the 2025 playoff that would feature a financial compromise. Now, Ross apparently has some information on what happened on this call or some of the things that were discussed. The future of the college football playoff format for 26 and beyond may be discussed. A formal decision not expected. Big Ten, SEC was control the format, supporting a 16-team playoff that grants each twice as many automatic qualifiers as the ACC and the Big 12. He also reports that the current 12-team format designates the top 4 seeds to the 4 best conference champions. A straight seeding model seeds teams by the committee's rankings. The financial compromise would distribute the same revenue, $8 million, to the 4 champions, even if they are not inside the top 4. So the straight seeding model for the college football playoff, if it would have taken place this year, this is the way your seeds would have gone down. Oregon would have been 1, Georgia would have been 2, Texas would have been 3, Penn State would have been 4, then Notre Dame 5, Ohio State 6, Tennessee 7, Indiana 8, Boise 9, SMU 10, Arizona State 11, Clemson 12. So your matchups would have been Indiana, Boise in the first round, winner gets Oregon. Notre Dame, Clemson in the first round, winner gets Penn State. Ohio State, Arizona State, winner gets Texas. Tennessee, SMU, winner gets Georgia. Straight seeding, Greg, is that the best option here? Do you like that? Do you hate that? Your thoughts on if that's the direction that the College Football Playoff Committee wants to go, and according to Ross Dellinger, what is being discussed most?
Yeah, I think that is, without question, the most important part of ironing all this stuff out. Straight seeding makes a lot of sense, I think, to a lot of people. I also think that last year, while Arizona State proved to be very capable of making noise against Texas with their performance, they probably didn't play as hard a schedule as Penn State, and they probably didn't play as hard a schedule as Texas. So I think this has been long considered something that we need to evaluate. But the main thing is, great if you have straight seeding, that's fine. But really the criteria is what needs to be evaluated. Strength of schedule more than anything else, it should carry the most weight. If you play a ridiculously difficult schedule, you should be rewarded. If you play a more manageable schedule, you should be punished. As a result, you shouldn't have home games, for example, if you played a manageable schedule in the regular season. Maybe you shouldn't even make the playoff in some cases if you played a super manageable schedule. 10-2s are not all created equally. To go 10-2 in the American Athletic Conference is a little different than going 10-2 in the SEC. Why are they weighted the same? And I'm talking as it relates to first-round buys. First-round buys need to go away when it comes to the G5. Boise had no business with the first-round bye. None. Doesn't mean they didn't deserve it because of what transpired in other places. Doesn't mean it didn't happen last year based on the rules that were in place last year, but it's something that needs to be heavily weighted and heavily evaluated.
Yeah, it's going to be intriguing to see more of the news and notes that come out of this call, come out of these meetings, and what the future of the college football playoff will look like. I think some of us believe that we have an idea where it's going. Maybe that changes. Not the amount of teams, but how those teams get in and where they would be seated and why. That could be very different. SEC tournament moving on today. Auburn in action. We've got some transfer portal news to get to. Wimp Sanderson at 9. David DeLucci talks that SEC tournament at 9:30 today. Still a lot more to go. There is one former head coach, however, that has things to say about his former place of employment and its current coach. Is he throwing shade, dropping an elbow, or just letting you know how it is? We'll tell you the team, the program, the two coaches involved next on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. All right, welcome back in. Hour number 2, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Talking a little college football playoff if you guys would like to chime in on that. Straight seeding. Is that something that you feel would be beneficial for the college football playoff moving forward? Do you like that? Tweet in at Mac and Cube, 800-239-9569. You want to get in, text in 205-834-9450. So straight seeding format would be more automatic qualifiers and not just conference champions automatically getting a certain seed. So is that more beneficial for the bigger conferences? Obviously. I don't think anybody would deny that. And does remove some of the value that comes with winning those other conferences. Not everybody would be on board with that. But I think it's inevitable that we're going to get to something at least close to that. Also, this weekend, Kellen Mond's going to start for the San Antonio Brahmas in the UFL. That has been announced. Jim Irsay has passed away, owner of the Indianapolis Colts since 1997. Passes away in his sleep at 65 years old, G-Mac. It's has been one of the more colorful owners, one of the more outspoken owners. He's an interesting fella, there's no doubt about it. And just unfortunate that the NFL loses someone that's meant a lot to the sport.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I didn't realize he was in really poor health. So that was a little surprising. I saw that on the bottom line yesterday, watching some hockey last night, and was like, wow. Just a bummer, man. But if you look at his tenure as the head coach or as the owner, it's pretty amazing. I mean, taking over at 37 years old, being the youngest owner in professional sports at the time, of course, inherited it from his father, but ushered in a remarkably successful tenure in his time. Granted, having Peyton Manning, well, it wasn't too big of an issue. That helped an awful lot. And then Andrew Luck after that, but kind of surprising, man, and really sad. Just hated to see that yesterday.
Absolutely. Some interesting quotes, comments coming down from a former head coach. And I want to get your thoughts on exactly what you think is happening here. The Bill Belichick tenure at North Carolina has already been, I don't know, what word would you use to describe it? Tumultuous, chaotic. Is circotic a word? Circus-like? If not, we'll just make that up and start using it. But Mac Brown appeared on SiriusXM yesterday and was asked about it and said, quote, they've committed money to it. They've helped him with academics. They've lowered those standards more. So there's absolutely no reason they shouldn't be successful. You know Mac Brown. I know Mac Brown. We've worked with him. We've been a colleague of his, and we've obviously covered him as well. Is there some shade here? Is there an ulterior motive to what Mac Brown is doing here?
I don't know if there's necessarily an ulterior motive. I think he's saying something that's very accurate and real. I mean, can you fault the guy? Like, here's the problem. Like, we want people to be transparent. We want people to be honest. And then we're critical when they say what they really feel.
Yeah.
Like that to me is part of the issue. It's like Mac Brown's telling the truth. Things have changed at North Carolina in the last 6 months. Whether you want to acknowledge that or not, it's the reality. And it doesn't have anything to do with Bill Belichick. It has everything to do with the fact that you're looking at the support that Bill Belichick has and the support that Mac Brown was trying to get for years and was unsuccessful in receiving said support.
Right.
So I think he's just acknowledging that things have changed and they have now embraced football and they are now willing to be much more committed financially to putting a good product on the field. And I don't blame Mac Brown for being frustrated by that.
It makes sense, especially if that was something he was working towards and that was something that was holding him back. And I would imagine that that's at least part of the case here, that he's letting folks know I had to deal with these academic standards. I had to deal with things that were taking place that were outside of my control. And he was there for, the tip of the iceberg on NIL. And did North Carolina make it right? Did they go out and do the things they needed to do to raise that extra money and do the extra things around it? So I can absolutely see his frustration and see why. I don't know if there's any sort of feud, bad blood between him and Belichick that he would put this out there to try to ensure that things are going to be more difficult for him. I personally don't think Mac really operates that way.
No.
I think, like you said, he was asked a question. He knows the situation, and so he shared the information. People might not like that, but if it's the reality and it's truthful, which I believe that it is, him adding some clarity to it, there shouldn't be a problem. And you've just hired who some people consider to be the greatest head coach in NFL history. Why should the expectation not be to go win a lot more games than you have been? So I don't really have an issue with it, but I did think it's interesting that North Carolina has done this now. Like what changed now? Is it Belichick and Lombardi getting in there saying, if you don't do this isn't going to work?
Or
and
we're out.
They happen to be the people that can change those minds. Yeah. Or they,
like, we're not doing this. I'm not taking the job. I'm not taking the job. If you are going to require my players to have certain academic requirements to get into school, then we're out. I'm not going to take this job. Like, Bill Belichick had all the leverage in this situation. The second that North Carolina said, yeah, we want you, it's like, all right, perfect. Well, you want me, this is what you're going to do. You're going to up the NIL. You're going to quadruple the NIL to make sure that we are competitive with some of the best teams, not just in the ACC, but nationally. You're also going to go to lengths in the academic side to make sure that if I want a player, I can get him in. Within reason, of course. I mean, you can't just take anyone that can fog on a mirror, but you absolutely need to make sure that if a guy's a great player, the academic transcripts are not going to be prohibitive. And that's just the reality. So I don't think Mac has bad blood. I don't think Mac's accomplished. He's a Hall of Famer. What does he have to prove? He doesn't care. He's got more national title rings than Bill Belichick. I mean, not as many rings in general, but more.
I don't know if you
national
count
title
bowl
rings.
rings and everything. Now he probably does have more rings. Actually,
that's fair.
I mean, I split divisional championships and whatnot. Like, I bet he actually has more rings. But yeah, I don't think Mac cares about it to that extent. But it is interesting now that maybe adds a sliver of heightened expectations or just overall expectations for North Carolina fans and that fan base and people like us in the media who look at it and say, are we going to have a different perception of it? Well, of course he's getting better players. They've opened up the NIL tank. Yes. Of course he's getting better players. They now let guys in that have below a 3.5 or whatever it was before. I don't know.
3.0.
Standards. 3.0. Now you can go play there. So things should look a little bit different.
Doesn't mean it's wrong, by the way. Like, everyone always loses sight of this.
No.
Like, this is not that big a deal. Like,
it also doesn't mean that I care.
It also doesn't mean that we need to act like North Carolina's doing something wrong. It doesn't mean we need to act like Mac Brown has bad blood. Like, guess what? Schools do this regularly, by the way. Regularly. Where these highly prestigious academic institutions, they raise and lower their standards based on how the wind blows for football players and basketball players.
Has Notre Dame done it yet?
They've done it 100 times.
But
It's a constant tug of war
for a long time. And this is maybe, precursors you actually covering college football. That was the big to do, is that, well, they can't recruit nationally anymore. They can't just let all these kids in like everybody else does. They don't just. And then you have the other side of that, teams like Utah, who have always, you've heard, oh, they'll just let anybody in school.
Well, Notre Dame is a private institution. They can let anyone in they want. USC, same exact way. It doesn't, does it require a normal student tremendous academic potential?
Can't any school technically let anybody in?
No, there are some standards that have to be if you receive state funding, there are certain standards that have to be met.
There are also waivers.
Mm-hmm. In many cases, yes, but also the standards that have to be met.
Like, I'm just saying, I didn't meet the standards that
if you had a 1.6
GPA,
if you had a 1.6 GPA and made a 17 on the ACT, you're not getting into Auburn. I hate to break it to you. You're not getting through the clearinghouse.
It was an 18 and it was the 2.65.
Okay, 2.65, you're fine. You're cooking. Over 2.5, we're good.
That may be inflating, by the way.
But this is not new. It's a constant tug of war between academia and athletics. This has happened for years and years and years. And guess what? When Brian Kelly left, Notre Dame woke up. Hey, we really need to adjust how we do things. And there were times when Brian Kelly was there where they let him have a little bit more rope than they would have originally. And then they'd tighten up. And then, oh yeah, okay, we can let a couple more. No, tighten up. It's like year to year. And it just depends on what kind of mood the president's in. So this is not new. This is not unique. This is commonplace in college athletics, especially at institutions that put a huge premium on maintaining high levels of academic standards. Look, I love my university as much as I value my degree as much as anything. But the reality is Alabama's had consistent academic standards forever. It doesn't change as the wind blows. But Notre Dame, North Carolina, USC, no, take them out. Notre Dame, North Carolina, Virginia, a handful of others, Duke, like they kind of rise and lower, they kind of elevate and then go down, elevate, go down, and it's a constant back and forth. This is not new, it's not uncommon.
Okay. We'll see if Mac Brown, if what he has said comes back to change the opinion. I mean, here's the reality of it all. Mac Brown can say what he says. We can hear Belichick say what he says. He might be engaged. He might not. I still have no idea what his football team's going to look like this year. All these things keep happening, and I just want to know what the football team's going to look like. And I don't have a friggin' clue what that thing's going to be. Could they win 8? Maybe. Could they win 2? Probably.
Over under, what is their win total?
7.5. We've talked about it.
Yeah.
You were playing golf the day we talked about this.
That feels like a lot.
I don't know how much golf you played that day, but you left the show and we talked about it because it was one of the times Belichick actually came out and said something publicly. And when you hear him speak about his team, you immediately change course on it. It sounds like it's so well put together and everything's going fine and he knows what he's doing. And you just think to yourself, all right, maybe it's going to be okay.
I have a tendency,
and then you start hearing all these other things. You're like, there's no way in hell it can be okay.
But I do think that some of the stuff that is being played out in the court of public opinion really don't matter. Like, you know this.
But I think I do think, Greg, it matters a little more with today's player. Like all the extracurricular BS, it does matter with today's player a little bit more because they pay attention to it and they watch it and they consume it and they hear it and then they talk about it. And when 18 and 19-year-olds talk about things, what happens? They get exaggerated.
And they
become a distraction.
Yeah.
So your coach is sitting there talking to you in the meeting, trying to get you to do something. You're thinking, are they really engaged?
Yeah.
Did she really run a media company? Did she really run Hard Knocks out of here? She tried to get ownership of HBO? And then you don't know what he said. It's just one small example, but
I don't know. I'm kind of the belief where I don't know what their personnel looks like. They got 60 new players. There's no way of knowing whether or not they're any good. So I have not, if you're trying to ask if I would place a $5 bet on the over under win total for North Carolina, you're nuts. I wouldn't place a 5-cent bet on that. But what I do know is that Bill Belichick knows how to run an organization. I believe that when they're on the practice field, things probably are really buttoned up. I believe that when the guys are in the building and they're in meetings, there is an expectation to be present. I'm not talking in attendance. I'm talking be present and in the meetings and contributing in the meetings. I guarantee all that. So I think they'll be well coached. I absolutely 100% believe that. I just don't know if they'll be good. Being well coached and being good, two very different things.
Very different. And talented, also very different. So we've run down their list of portal guys. 90% of them are from bigger schools, traditionally good football programs. 80% of those haven't really played. So you got some guys that were recruited. Is that going to work? I just don't know. And maybe that's why talking about it is intriguing, because you and I can sit here and talk about how many different programs in college football and find a way to convince ourselves or other people that they're going to probably be this 8-win team, 10-win team, playoff team, losing record team. I can't convince myself of anything with North Carolina. Not a single thing.
But I've seen a lot of people make very strong proclamations about what they can be.
I've heard people talk about their total and say, over. How can you say that? Based on what?
But I've also had people say this is going to be a disaster.
And
I don't know how you can say that. How can you honestly, in your right mind, bet against? Like I said, I'm not talking about an actual wager. I'm talking about your opinion. How can you feel really confident in betting against Bill Belichick? You really can't feel confident in him failing. You can't.
I do think that there are some, I think people would take the distractions at hand and say that's a lot. It's just a lot that's happening. And then I think people could say the last couple of years in the league were not great. From a coaching acumen perspective, from a talent acquisition perspective, it just wasn't great. And then now you have this new crowd that's going to say, all right, yeah, greatest coach, but he also had greatest player potentially ever. And when greatest player left, things took a nosedive in a hurry. So that's just where some people are on this. One thing that I would come back to, if I wanted to convince myself that they can win 8-9 this year, maybe, I would say it's not just Bill. They have a good staff. Like Freddie Kitchens can call plays.
Heck yeah.
No one needs to be convinced of that, or at least they shouldn't. Will Friend has been at like 15 of the 16 SEC schools coaching offensive line. Like he knows what he's doing. Garrick McGee has been a head coach in this city before, like right down the street from us. And he's called plays and he knows offense. I mean, Steve Belichick has coordinated defenses. Like he knows what he's doing.
He coordinated them well.
So they
had
have
a good defense last year in Washington.
If you want to try to build confidence in something, or the hows and the whys, that's one, I'll push that chip onto your side of the table and say, all right, there's some house money you can play with right there. And I wouldn't push back on it. I wouldn't argue it. Now, if you wanted to go further into the recruiting, managing portal, talking to guys on your roster, relating to players, okay, some of that maybe, but
sure.
Football acumen, that staff's got it. There's no doubt about that.
They can coach ball, but players over plays.
Who are they coaching?
Players over plays. And if they don't have the dudes, they're in trouble. The good news is they're in the ACC. Like, even if they have a mediocre roster, let's just call it what it is. A mediocre roster, which I kind of think they will have a better than mediocre roster. Would you agree? If you just
probably
all things considered, at $20 million, you can't have a substandard roster. That's probably among the highest paid rosters in the entire ACC. Behind probably.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're probably, like most people, Greg, in general, are weighing this against Alabama's roster.
Yes.
Florida's roster, USC, Ohio State's roster. You probably need to be, let's just take Clemson out of it and even Miami out of it.
Take Clemson and Miami out. They are the anomalies in that league.
If we're weighing this even against Georgia Tech or NC State or SMU's roster, they're probably comparable.
Yes. So if you really look at it, and you look at the teams that they'll be going against and what they're measuring against, outside of Clemson, outside of Miami, and let's also add Louisville, because I think Louisville is kind of the forgotten team in the ACC every year, and they're a 9+ winner every year because Brom's that good. And that I always like their roster. They always have a couple guys that no one knows about that are actually quite decent. Taking all that into account, who, if I told you your life depended on a team beating North Carolina, who are you picking in the ACC if you remove those top three? Your life depended on it. If North Carolina wins the game, you die.
Usually on an annual basis.
North Carolina State.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Louisville would be in that mix. This year specifically, if you're saying an ACC team, even not on the schedule, I might go Georgia Tech just because of the quarterback in that offense and pulling the trigger in that offense with some of the weapons he's still going to have. I don't know if I would say that annually, but this year, yes. And I know they're not on the schedule.
Not on the schedule. But beside the point. Yeah, I agree. Georgia Tech's got a nice team this year.
I don't think they're going to win week 1. So, and I know they're at home, but I think TCU is going to get them. I think Josh Hoover knows what he's doing in that offense. And I think that they're going to have a better team, specifically week 1. More guys been together doing the same things, probably more talented. Okay. At Charlotte, Richmond, you should be 2-1 there. I'll say this. If we're creating a basket of teams that we have no idea what in the hell is happening right now, I'm going to throw UCF in there with them. Put them right next to North Carolina. I'll tell me, what do you expect from UCF this year?
You know, Scott Frost is back.
I heard.
You read that somewhere?
You have Jeff Lebby? Do you have Dylan Gabriel?
Gabriel's back. I just saw that too.
Well, he can pull a Zakai Ziegler probably and go sue for another year in college football and win. Not that Ziegler's won yet, but so that's a toss up. And you're at the Bounce House, which apparently is a hard place to play. I've never been, but they do have a national championship lettering on the upper deck of their stadium.
Confirmed.
And they jump around.
Yes.
Not as much as in Camp Randall, but they do. Clemson, no. At Cal,
I'd probably lean North Carolina.
I will say at this point in time, Cal will be the better coach football team. Just because they've had more equity with their guys in what they do. And that's not a knock against anything at North Carolina. It's just.
I'll disagree. I just don't think they have the dudes. They have had a mass exodus. And their team last year was quite talented. They were much more talented than people realize. You lose
it's gonna be interesting to see.
You lose Mendoza, and their secondary was as good as anybody I saw last year on tape. So I think that secondary was the real deal.
Virginia, y'all keep telling me they're going to be good. I'll believe it when I see it.
Who's y'all?
The world. Oh, this is the year they bounce back. I'm sorry. I'm not even paying attention to that anymore. At Syracuse, I think it just on paper right now, I would say probably a loss. Stanford should get. At Wake, do we need to lob Wake into the WTH basket? Is Robbie Ashford going to run that offense? I'm not really sure what to expect from Wake right now.
Well, Wake has a new coaching staff. They have a new system. It's going to be different. So
right. That's why I'm not really sure what it's going to look like, what it's going to be. Duke will be tough. At NC State will be tougher. I don't think I gave people confidence in 8 right there.
I think you're probably being a little hard on them. I think they're going to be good, but I don't think the expectations are outrageously high as far as win-loss total is concerned. I think they will be well coached. I think they will have decent talent, but that's a big but. I think there is a huge misconception about Bill Belichick and his approach to the game and a college player's normal approach to the game. Bill Belichick eats, sleeps, drinks, breathes football 100% of the time. And he has outsourced his recruiting plan to Lombard. Yes, absolutely.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay. Because there are a lot of people in a different part of the media trying to convince us otherwise.
I know Bill Belichick. This is a guy that was sitting in his office in Foxborough at the stadium, at Gillette Stadium, trying to figure out why the heck so many people were in town. Is because Taylor Swift was having a concert that night. They are literally in the stands above his office, and he could not figure out what the heck was going on. And it's because Taylor Swift was performing live 40 yards from where he was sitting.
Now he'd be there.
Great point.
Front row, maybe.
Great point.
That's the way the guy's wired, though. Like, he's all ball. And I still believe that to be true.
And I don't disagree with that. And I don't think that that's not the case, at least to a certain extent. But we will see. Does that mean big year for Gio Lopez incoming?
No, I just think they're going to be well coached. Like, I really believe that. I think Bill Belichick's going to do a good job. I think his staff's going to do a good job. And I think his personnel is probably in the top half of the ACC. Which, guess what? If you're in the top half of the ACC, you're probably doing all right. Like,
you
honestly,
probably win 8 or 9 games.
Yeah,
against that schedule.
I mean, to be honest with you, the only teams that I think, if I right now were to pick neutral site, take all other factors out of play. They're in a neutral site dome. There's no fans in the stands, and we're going just exclusively based on XO acumen. I'm taking Clemson. I'm taking Miami. I'm taking SMU. And I'm taking Louisville. Other than that, I'll take North Carolina.
But that's not the way it's going to be played out. And you look at the games on their schedule, where do you see how many guaranteed wins do you see? And that's where I think it becomes complicated because it doesn't look like a ton.
It's not, because the league is extremely top heavy. And then there's a gigantic gap. And then everybody's kind of the same.
Fair. All right, we'll continue that discussion. Some other things around college football to get to, some portal updates that we need to discuss. Your thoughts on North Carolina? Are you taking the over right now? Are you taking the under? Which direction would you go?
Well, because I would fade the public, and the public is probably souring. I'd take over.
But there's still going to be a portion of the public that just sees Bill Belichick and says, "He's going to win championships."
I think Bill Belichick. I think Bill Belichick has fallen out of favor since Tom Brady won that last Super Bowl. In the court of public opinion, I'm not saying that anyone's trying to disregard what he accomplished in winning 6 Super Bowls. Nobody is ever going to be able to spin that negatively, ever. After all, he's the guy that drafted Tom Brady. He's the guy that started Tom Brady. And he's the guy that watched and had, I don't know, somewhat of a hand in Tom Brady's development to becoming the greatest of all time. Now, Tom Brady, is he internally motivated? Of course, but still pretty dang good. What Bill Belichick was able to accomplish. So I think once Tom Brady left, and people are now looking at Bill Belichick having the same skepticism you just said a little while ago. Like, oh, I don't know. When the GOAT left, it was a little different in New England. Which is 100% fair and 100% true. Doesn't mean he can't coach. Doesn't mean he won't coach this year. And doesn't mean he won't run some circles around that staff. They're going to run some circles around some of the staffs in the ACC.
Yeah.
Let's just be real.
All right, it's a lot there with UNC. We'll see how it plays out. We know Hard Knocks will not be there. We do know where Hard Knocks will be this season. We'll tell you that and get you updated on the latest lawsuit against the NCAA next. Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is 8:30, Thursday, May 22nd, right here on Jocks 94.5. Your thoughts on where the potential 16-team playoff could be going with a different seeding format? Also, North Carolina, their win total. We mentioned, Greg, that Hard Knocks not going to be in Chapel Hill. Part of that because Jordan Hudson apparently asked for ownership. We don't know what portion of ownership or even what entity she wanted ownership in. Just the branded show, the entire network that puts it on.
I'm assuming probably some type of executive producer title.
Who owns HBO Max? Is that like a larger company, Paramount, or somebody owns it? Like, who owns them?
I don't have the answer to that.
John, do you know that?
So Warner Brothers Discovery Network. I know that.
Maybe she asked for ownership there.
Maybe.
Want 10% of Warner Brothers. Lady, this is a college football reality show.
Fine, 15.
Take it or leave it. Lady, this show's never been done. We don't know if it's going to be any good. Yeah, but it's Bill Belichick. You can give me 5% of your company or not. Okay,
yes.
We're going to move on. Thank you. They will be in Buffalo instead.
Thanks for being here.
The Buffalo Bills be on Hard Knocks. Does that get you going? Is Hard Knocks just something for the people who watch it now, no matter where it is, no matter what it is? Like, yeah, they'll wrangle in some Bills fans, but they'll get an extra 20% on whoever they're covering that year.
Yes.
And then I just feel like it's kind of the same people every year. Like, I think it's a cool show. I just forget that it's on, and I forget to go watch it.
You don't say.
Well, I'm not saying it's bad or I don't like it. it's not something that I clear the schedule for to make sure I watch it every whatever
Used to
night
be,
when it airs.
But yeah.
Long time ago it was, yeah.
Yeah. I think the more interesting one now is the one in season, but that's definitely the one I'm not thinking about.
You can't even remember when are you going to go watch that?
Right, yeah.
I got games to watch. Like, we got actual football, and I'm supposed to go watch Josh Allen argue with his offensive coordinator?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. The Hard Knocks stopped doing it for me probably around 2007.
So, like, the second year it was on? I don't know when it started even.
No, it was probably like 5 or 6 years in at that point.
Expecting him to say when I lived it.
And I'll tell you what, the best Hard Knocks, like, this is not, I think the Jets Hard Knocks in 2010 was the best one.
Were you were gone?
No, I wasn't in it then. It was the year before I got there. Corey Reamer was.
Any financial advice that you need, Corey's there.
Oh, yeah, my guy.
Why would we want him to talk about football when he can talk about the stock market?
Market's way more fun.
Hadn't seen him on WBRC recently. I guess. Oh,
I saw him
that'll be
week.
like next week. Yeah, he said it's like first of the week of the month once a month.
Well,
I thought it was once a week because I feel like we see him in here all the time on the TV.
I know we do see him a lot, but I think it's pretty sure it's once a week. But anyways, it's beside the point. What I'm getting at is I look at the Hard Knocks, and it's kind of the same thing every year. I guess once you've lived it, like, it's a little too close. Like, once you know how the sausage is made.
Different characters. I mean, I think there are different personalities that are going to be more intriguing. It's just, I think the problem is something has to happen to get a lot of people excited about it. Like, Lamar Jackson has to ride a unicycle to work, and they're showing it, and then all of a sudden people go tune in. Oh, I got to go see that. Instead of, hey, it's the Ravens, everyone's just going to go watch that. And like I said, I think there are people who watch it, and they're going to watch it every year.
Perhaps.
Nothing wrong with it. I'm not hating on it.
Absolutely.
I don't have time to be able to say, I'm going to go sit down and watch what people eat in the cafeteria at their football facility. Just can't do it.
Can't do it, won't do it.
Dr. Mill wants to talk academics in college football and how some of those have changed, are changing. Dr. Mill, welcome into the show.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you all this morning?
Doing great. Thank you.
Great. Well, I heard Greg mention, I tuned in, heard Greg mention the academics. And, of course, as we all know, it's been a problem for a long time. And my heart is just broken because you guys know certainly for sure that there's life after football. And, of course, there's always been a substandard in terms of academics for most institutions and some athletes. And, of course, the favorite and the one that pushed the red button was the Dexter Manley story or debacle. This young man walked out the University of Oklahoma with a college degree and was illiterate. And so there's an inherent problem. And here lately, with the transfer portal, as we've discussed many, many times, and along with the NIL, and you know, I heard you all mention Robbie Ashford. Where is he now? Maybe they need to do a program where are they now? These young men jump from one college to the other one chasing a dollar. There's life after football. And it's just really, to me, it's sad. And I'm hoping and praying that these, you know, people at the NCAA, along with Congress or whoever, can put some kind of guidelines together, whether it be the SEC, Greg Sankey and the people, but something definitely needs to be done. But there's always been the substandard, and Greg is right. It changes from year to year, the admission standards. So I'll hang up and let you all expound on it. Thank you for all you guys do.
Appreciate you, Dr. Mel. We've mentioned that, you know, when this thing does come down, I still don't think that's going to be the end of it. I still think people are going to find back channels, underbellies, back doors to be able to do things that are against the rules or violate potential rules or guidelines that are out there. But hopefully it does calm a few things down. I think mainly the portal is what people want to see sort of chill out a little bit, and that would solve a lot of the problems. But
I don't think I mind the portal as much as I did maybe like a couple years ago. Like, I'm kind of just used to guys not caring about where they play. I hate that, but kind of just at that point. I've reached that point. So maybe it calms down and I get back to really appreciating it. But now I just acknowledge the sport as a transactional sport. And that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. When toe meets leather, it's still great. It's all that matters to me.
Well, Game Day Men's Health, not just a transactional spot for you, something that can help you feel better on a daily basis if you lack energy, if you're getting poor sleep, if you feel on edge. Game Day Men's Health wants to help you. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now. Schedule the free consultation. You get a free PSA test, free testosterone test. Find out what your baseline health is, and then they'll present options for you. Testosterone replacement, peptides, weight loss programs, multiple weight loss programs that can help you get the pounds off. They just want to help you sleep better, feel better, be lighter, have more energy, and see things more clearly. They can do that at Game Day Men's Health. Mention Mac and Cube and save 10% on any service that they offer. Holistic approach to health and wellness. Don't forget this part either. Minimal upfront cost in the programs that they offer. That's very different than some other places around town. Book your free consultation today at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Well, we mentioned HBO. We mentioned Max. So television shows obviously a part of our next conversation. Greg brought it up. The best television shows the years that we graduated. Also, are there television shows we need to be watching right now? We have this conversation almost annually during the offseason. We'll have a portion of it today. Next on Mac and Cube. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. We easily decided which of us had the best music the year that they graduated high school, with high school graduation happening this week. We'll roll that into television shows on who had the best TV shows the year that they graduated. I'm going to go ahead and nominate myself for last in this after going to the Wikipedia page of the top-rated United States television programs of 1996, 1997. No wonder we got a bunch of dweebs. Just it's
much.
Rough. It's rough. It really is.
Just explains so much.
But let's start with this because I feel like everybody needs a little help with this sometimes. Specifically, Greg and I, who completely lose touch with the other television world for the majority of the months of the calendar year. Are there any good shows that anybody is watching right now that we need to know about? Or what are you watching that you are enjoying right now? Greg?
Landman is the most recent show that we've watched and enjoyed. The other one that I really like right now, and it's partly because of the NHL playoffs, kind of in hockey mode. My wife and I started rewatching Shoresy, which
I don't know what that is.
It's on Hulu. Dude, it is freaking awesome.
Okay.
It's a great show. It's funny, easy watch, 20-minute episodes. First season, 6 episodes. You can watch it in a day. And it's about a former high-level hockey player that has now been relegated to a small league in
I want to say I watched the first episode of this, and it looked intriguing, but I just never followed up with it.
It's a good one. And it's the first episode is a little raunchy, to be honest with you. It kind of mellows out a little bit as things go forward. It's not nearly as hardcore, but it's really funny, and the dialogue is hilarious. It's from the same guy's I'm trying to think of the other show he has that I have not actually watched, but I've heard it's hilarious. The dialogue's really funny, and they talk like it's actually quite, now granted, hyperbolic, but a lot of the personalities that are on this hockey team are fairly accurate when it comes to actual hockey players.
Okay. D tweets in, From is an amazing show. Anyone?
Literally never heard about it.
Where?
Ask Orlando. He'll tell you all about it. He loves it. He swears by it.
From?
Yeah.
What is it about? Aliens?
Vampires, maybe?
Oh.
Something scary. It's a scary looking show. I'll tell you that.
I don't do scary. Out.
Damien, do you have a show you're watching right now that is worth everybody else watching?
I mean, it's dated, but I'm rewatching The Wire.
Okay.
I'm in season 4.
We've had that conversation before.
I'm in season 4.
John, anything that has been created in the last 25 years that you're consuming?
I'm getting a kick out of 4 Seasons. It's on Netflix. It's a comedy. It's a remake of a 1981 movie.
What's the movie? The movie was also 4 seasons?
Correct, yes.
Haven't seen the tape.
Be happy, yeah. The movie's fine, but the show has Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo.
I've seen
it's a
that
comedy.
before.
So.
I've seen it in
Yeah.
like 7 different versions. The morning show, 4-Year-Old Virgin.
Nothing to do with that, but all right.
Got it. Okay.
Ask for help, and that's what I get. All right.
I did. So you're saying it's worth watching, though?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
It's short, too. 8 episodes, 30 minutes each.
Gotcha. 800-239-9569. You want to get in on the Higginbotham hotline, help us with TV shows that we need to be watching now. We are watching Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV Plus with John Hamm.
Good.
It's worth watching.
All right.
I mean, he's good in just about everything, but I will say he was like semi-typecast now. Like he kind of plays like the same type of person in everything, but he's good. So it doesn't matter.
Love it.
And then we did push through on Severance the last season.
That's good.
There's no,
You're lost.
who knows what's happening, but I don't even know who does what anymore, or like who's real, who doesn't work, who has a chip, who doesn't have a chip. But hey, you know what? We're watching it.
What'd you think when the band came out?
All right. Spoiler alert.
I want to know where they are in every other portion of every other day. Like you can't just bring that in and that's it. They
Spoiler
show
alert.
up once every 7 years to do something.
Spoiler alert.
That's what you get for being
Not
off the
spoiler.
internet.
I could tell you
man.
about
Yeah,
goats.
social media,
He could ask me about the goats also, and it doesn't spoil anything. But you know why? Because nobody who's seen it can explain it to you. So how
Not
can
important,
I spoil
dude.
it?
It's too deep for you.
That is definitely it. I'm not. I fully admit I'm not smart enough for that show.
Can you just tell me
Not.
what the biggest show was when the year you graduated?
Wow. ER.
ER? That's a good show.
It's a good show.
I
test of time.
never got into it. So
George Clooney's in that.
you don't
Kyle
say.
Pfeiffer.
Number 2, Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Number 3, Suddenly Susan. Number 4, Friends. And The Naked Truth. I don't remember that show.
I don't either, but noticing a theme on yours.
Fired Up. No idea. The only thing we got going for us is number 7's Monday Night Football.
There we go.
We watched a lot of that. 8 would be The Single Guy, and then Home Improvement, number 9. Not going to say I never watched it, but probably dumber for watching it. Touched by an Angel,
Oh,
60
God.
Minutes, 2020 NYPD Blue.
You guys are the worst.
John, what was the CBS Sunday movie?
They would air movies Sunday nights at 7.
Like popular movies?
Yeah.
I don't recall that. Frasier, Spin City, The Drew Carey Show.
Golly,
now you can see what's
They were
happening.
Limited.
It makes so much sense.
Walker, Texas Ranger,
Hey.
Cosby, The X-Files, Third Rock from the Sun. We had Stupid Comedy and Aliens is what we had. Chicago Hope, Ellen, Sybil, Caroline in the City. Well, yeah, y'all see why I turned out the way I did.
Yep. Makes a lot more sense now.
All right, we're going to get to everybody else's on the other side. A little added value from right here on WJOX. I'll introduce you to my friend and wealth advisor, Tad Hill, your trusted retirement planning partner. Tad's the co-host of the Retire with Freedom radio and TV shows in Birmingham and Huntsville. Also designated by Forbes as the #1 financial securities professional in the state of Alabama, multiple years running. Tad, what do you have for us today?
Thanks, Cole. What I want to do today is talk about the foundation of retirement planning, which is income planning. And what income planning boils down to is how are you going to replace the income that you need in retirement once your paychecks stop? First, we have to figure out exactly how much are you going to need from your savings and investments. We need to start with how much is going out the door, and then exactly what can you expect from sources of income like Social Security and pension. And then the conversation shifts to what are the strategies that you can employ to ensure that you don't run out of income in retirement. All of these are things that we cover in detail in our Retire with Freedom course that we teach in our office on Valleydale Road. If you would like to get signed up for that, text JOX, J-O-X, to 205-988-0006. That's 988-0006.
This is a paid placement. Investment advisory services are made available through AE Wealth Management. For more information about Forbes rankings, visit Forbes.com.
Welcome back. 8:53 here on Mac and Cube, Birmingham, Alabama. Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year, the national champions. 5 years in a row, they've won the national championship. You take the short drive up to Coleman, you'll be glad you did. You'll also go and see the best deals imaginable on their lot, whether it's the new car lot or the used car supercenter. It's about to be amazing. If you take the short drive up to Coleman, grab yourself a GMC Sierra 1500 Denali Ultimate. Nicest truck on the road. Nearly $87,000 is what you pay elsewhere. At Bill Smith, you'll pay under 72. It's 71,805. It's deals like that keep you come back. That's why 75% of their business repeat customers, because you have a better experience when you shop with Bill Smith. Take the short drive to Coleman. You're glad you did. You can also shop online, head delivered right to your driveway at Bill Smith Buick, GMC.com. Our shows weren't great, by the way, in 2005/6. Highest rated American Idol. Shouldn't come as a huge surprise. Still in the early days of American Idol. I think that was probably Ruben Studdard. Right around there. Maybe
in what year?
05/06. Thereabouts.
Sounds about right.
Probably right around there. I think Kelly Clarkson was maybe a year or two earlier. Might have been like Carrie Underwood in that vicinity. I'm not sure. But anyways, still very good. CSI was coming onto the scene. And I actually like CSI Miami better than regular CSI.
Oh, you would.
Horatio Kane just had those wicked one-liners.
Again, brother.
You said 2006?
2005/6, yeah.
Well, 2005, Carrie Underwood, Bo Bice. 2006, Taylor Hicks, Catherine McPhee.
Yeah, Taylor Hicks would have been college. So my senior year was Carrie Underwood.
Got it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That checks out. Now, it's bad that I have to...
Kelly Clarkson was actually the first winner.
Correct.
Ruben Studdard second. You know who finished runner-up to him?
Clay Aiken.
Who finished runner-up to Carrie Underwood?
To Carrie Underwood was Bo Bice.
Yeah.
But Justin Guarini finished runner-up to Kelly Clarkson.
They had that movie.
From Justin to Kelly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Never saw it.
Do you know who won the year after Taylor Hicks?
No. Yes. David Cook.
Who?
Close. There's one before that. Her father played in the NFL.
Don't know.
Jordan Sparks. Do you know who finished runner-up to David Cook? He has a name who was also a famous NFL name.
No, I don't remember.
David Archuleta. No idea if he's related to Adam or not.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Pretty
Okay.
sure not.
I don't think, yeah.
Please continue with your TV shows from the year you graduated.
Grey's Anatomy, early
I
seasons,
had no idea we had an American Idol expert on the show.
and Desperate Housewives.
God, that thing took over America for a
Desperate
minute.
Housewives was massive, but
Never
also
seen an episode.
it was really good. Eva
Better than
Longoria.
Gossip Girl?
Eva Longoria was easy on the eyes.
Was?
Continues to be.
Yeah. She ain't got to go to Spain. Stay right
Yeah.
here.
Yep. Grey's Anatomy, of course, that was the early going. Without a Trace, never saw that.
I'm not sure.
But I
what that
remember
is.
I remember the show. You had House, 2.5 Men, which was the top comedy.
That's fair.
That thing went nuts
Excellent.
for a minute too.
And then the back end of Lost. Remember Lost?
Did you get into Lost?
Yes, but later down the line, I watched it in 2009. Watched it all the way through.
People still tell me I should go back and watch it. I've never seen it.
You'd get
I've
so-
tried before.
You don't understand Severance? Oh, jeez.
Lost is aggressive.
I'll stay away then.
Yes.
Back with more next. Welcome back in, McElroy and 9 o'clock, hour number 3 underway, Thursday, May 22nd. Jocks 94.5. He joins us each and every week thanks to our friends at Coke and Piggly Wiggly. It's the coach, Wim Sanderson. Coach, how we doing today?
Well, I'm okay. I'm down in Kiva Dunes playing golf in a scramble at University of Alabama deal. Back 1958, 60, they started having an event for all the coaches to go actually fish. So we fished for years. Of course, I left Alabama and came back and invited me back, and so we're playing a scramble at Kiva Dunes today. So that's what I'm doing. I think athletic director spoke last night to thank these people in Jasper who usually foot the bill for it. Says that they're anxiously waiting for the committee to, not for the committee, but the judge to finish up so that everybody will know what everybody's doing. My question to you two: once she gives her recommendation, will we ever know what everybody's doing, cheating wise? No.
Yeah,
silent.
No, we just, I don't think that's the direction that we thought you were going to go today. We wanted to hear more about your golf game and how you're playing.
Well, I didn't play too good, but I'm older than dirt.
Do you still hit the noodle?
Yeah. Let me tell you what I did with the noodle. Long, straight, and suck up by the hole.
There you go.
Was my theory. And when I played in pro-ams, that's what I would say. And all of a sudden, I got 6 dozen a month from them. So I talked a little bit better about it. I just said, the noodle goes so far. When you get to it, your battery's dead on your cart. So
wouldn't the problem be though if you're short on your iron selection there though, because then you're short and it's going to hit that backspin.
Well, you got a lot of spin on a hard ball, which is a noodle. Noodle's a hard ball for an old guy. That's what I usually hit. I got Titleist that I hit, but for a hard ball, I usually hit the noodle. So
what's the best club in your bag?
Probably most comfortable club for me is a 5-wood. I feel better hitting a 5-wood than I do. It's got a little bit more tilt on it, a little bit more action on it, and I have to hit a lot of those because I'm always a long way off. You get 2 guys playing it all. I know Greg does.
Greg plays almost every day. I can't play anymore, Coach, because of my back. But man, I'd say I used to be terrible trying to hit the woods out of the fairway. It's one thing I could never do.
Yeah. I tell you what, I got problems too. I've, of course, had a problem losing that net, and I've been trying to get out and be busy, and it's it's a struggle. But anyway, it is what it is. I try to play and try to get my mind off things, but it's hard to do. But anyway, forget that part of it.
Coach, we asked a question on the show yesterday that if your life depended on it and you had a vehicle that was stopped on a hill and you had to start it and go without stalling out in a stick shift, could you do it? I imagine you'd be fine doing that.
Well, maybe stick shift. You start off with and throw it into another gear.
But if you were stuck on a hill where you had to hit that clutch and kind of time it just right, where you didn't stall out, would you be able to do that today?
I doubt it. I can't do anything. Too old. I don't know if I can do that. Now, you talking about an automobile?
Correct. Or a tractor? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
You didn't drive stick shift growing up?
Yeah, I had stick shift, 40 forward.
Okay.
Had a 40 forward, yeah.
Was it in the column or on the floor?
The floor.
All right. So you'd be able to do it. You know how to do it.
You can definitely do it.
We were just talking about how there's so many people that have never had to drive a stick shift this day and age.
Yeah. Well, I so when during my era, that's all we had was, I went to get my driver's license when I was 16, and I watched this guy's car that lived in our apartments. It's just Mom and I. And he said, "Now, the front seat jumps up. There's something wrong with the spring. So if you better be careful when you're going to take the driver's license test in this car. So off I go to Pine Street to get an appointment to get the car, get my driver's license. I get into Booger Bear. I crank it. It goes 2 feet, and the officer falls into the dashboard. It is jerked. And I said, sir, I apologize. I said, my guy that owns this car told me. He said, well, let's do it again. So we start off again, jerked again. So I kept going. He finally gave me my driver's license. He said, son, you need to get the car, jerking fixed out of that car. I said, yes, sir. And that's what happened to me. So I was young and I didn't have enough. If I washed this guy's car all the time, he let me have a date and drive it. So that's what it is.
That's a good deal.
What are y'all talking about today? Anything?
We've been talking about TV shows. We've been talking about Matt Rhule making a joke about the playoff, and everybody thinks he's being serious, going to 40 teams. Talked about Mac Brown saying that North Carolina has infused more money into the program and lowered academic standards, and just kind of what we thought he meant by that. But really, we just think he's being honest. What he meant
by that was that what they're doing for Belichick is that they're dropping down their standards and they're raising more money. Naturally, he doesn't want them to succeed. And I can understand that. He feels like that he got shanghaied in that deal, and so. What if
he's just being honest, though? What if that's really what happened?
I know. But if they give them a lot more money, then the money part is you got to have money to keep them, you got to have money to get them, and you got to have. It's a difficult deal. I don't know how much. I've always said if you're a coach of basketball, especially who's going to get the second part of it, he's not going to get what football gets. That if the athletic director hired you, you got a better chance of getting more money. That's darn sure, because he wants you to succeed. And they've done well at Alabama, and I emceed Jimmy Raines' banquet the other night when Bruce Pearl spoke. And I MC his banquet every year, and Bruce did a good job. So that's something that I thought I'd mention because Jimmy Raines is the wealthiest man in the state of Alabama. So I thought I'd mention that anyway. I ain't got anything.
Do you know anything about this Chris Fleming that Alabama's bringing in as an assistant basketball coach?
No, I just know he told me, Nate told me last night, he played a lot. He coached a lot in the pros in the States and overseas as well. Likes him a great deal. He's bringing in a lot of guys who are NBA coaches. They lack one more player, and I'm not giving you a report on that because I don't know, but I think they lack one more player, getting the ones that they want. I think that's correct. And what we're looking for is a point guard. So I think the kid from Auburn's a good player. I don't think he represents a point guard as much. So that's what they're looking for. Auburn. I don't know what Auburn's looking for. I imagine they've had a great year too, and I imagine they'll, get plenty of money to get who they need. So it's basketball is second fiddle to football naturally, and should be. Football's got to carry the load and get the money. And as soon as I don't know what I don't know what we're going to know once this judge rules on stuff. I mean, it's all very, very. There's always a way to look at it and see something you can do to get get around the rules if you can. I think probably so. We'll see.
Coach, academic standards. You coached at Alabama for a long time. Obviously. Yeah. Did you ever run into a situation? Don't get specific with the player's name or anything, where you were trying to get them into school and the school would not budge, or was that not something you ever dealt with?
But I'll tell you one. They can't do anything to me about it. It's funny now. Latrell Sprewell, a great player we got. Y'all, remember Sprewell? I guess played for me with Robert Horry. Sprewell played in the.
Coach, we know who Latrell Sprewell is. We watched him play.
All right. My assistant manager, I said, how'd you pull it off? He said, Coach, he ain't had no grades. He said, I think we need to try to give him Shelton. Oh, I shouldn't be telling this. I'm telling him what. I said, okay, let's try to give him shelter. So we put him in Coleman Coliseum with 2 managers in the very basement, and he got out there, he shot baskets and went to class. He didn't have a car. All of a sudden, towards the end of that semester, he's doing well. My assistant comes to him and said, we got bad problems. He said the university closes registration before Shelton gives out their grades. I said, what are we going to do? He said, I don't know. We got to figure out something. Well, it just so happened that I almost went to South Carolina as coach. And I went and say, Ray Perkins, Ray's a great friend of mine. He's 18. He wanted to keep me. And he said, well, don't go. He said, just stay where you are this time. And he said, if you'll stay, I'll give you 100 season basketball tickets, and I'll give you 50 tournament tickets. He said, I got 100 football tickets. I said, okay, I'll take them. So what I did was I had my manager go around and look at every teacher that Spree had, and I gave each one of them 4 tickets. And then I went to the president, Dr. I want to say his name. I gave him 4 tickets, and it wasn't any cheating much. We just got the grades early. We were able to put them out early to the university and get them in school, and it was well worth it. So that's what we did. Anytime I looked behind me during the game, there was 3 rows full of people from Shelton. So that's one thing happened that was, I guess, against the rules a little bit. But we got one in school that we couldn't get in school, and he's a great player. Of course, he's made a lot of money in New York and the pros. That's all I know.
That's it. Well, Coach,
so what are you two doing in a time that it's because I hadn't got to hear you today. I always listen to you. You're darn good. What are y'all talking about today?
Today, well, I just gave you some of the stuff that we had mentioned as far as TV shows, the years we graduated. We mentioned some portal guys, Matt Rhule's comments. We talked about North Carolina, their expectations, 7.5 the win total. Should it be over under? Talked about college football playoff when they go to 16 teams.
You think 16? Yeah, okay, stop there. Yeah, you think 16? They ought to go to 16.
I don't think they ought to. I think they're going to. I think it's inevitable.
Yeah,
I think it's
they're going to.
What the seeding is going to look like, you're going to take away the automatic seeds for the conference champions, and Big Ten, SEC are going to automatically get 4 each. What folks think about that?
Well, I had a chance to sit down with last night and have dinner. Just happened to fall with the new coach of Alabama, football coach, and he's a good guy, a nice guy. And I think he's going to do a good job. The first time I met him, and we just happened after we put our plates down, I had to be sitting by him. He really likes, he likes Tuscaloosa. He thinks it's great for his family, and I think they're working hard to keep from getting beat by the Vanderbilts and Oklahomas. If they can do that, you got to beat the team you're supposed to beat, every now and then beat somebody it's up for grabs as to who's going to win the game. So I think it'll. Everybody in the athletic department's down here. Everybody, about for just 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, and so everybody's enjoying themselves. I'm trying to.
Well, we hope you do, Coach.
I'm trying to.
We hope you do. And we appreciate you taking some time, and we know each and every week you're brought to us by Coke and Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah, I'm sorry the show wasn't any better today to give you any information, but I didn't have a whole lot to give. Piggly Wiggly, Stanley Fasiglo was one of my best buddies. He started Piggly Wiggly. They got them all over Birmingham, all over the state. He and Andy. And if you want to go into a place, I'm not kidding you. If you want to go into a place that looks after you, takes care of you, has a good product, then Piggly Wiggly is the place to go. You will come out there with a smile on your face. Coca-Cola been drinking Coke since I was a long time ago. So anyway, Coke and Piggly Wiggly give me the opportunity to be on your show. I was lousy today. I'll try to be better next week.
Oh, you're great, Coach. We always appreciate you hopping on. We'll catch up next week. There you go. Coach Wim Sanderson joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. We'll come back to those TV shows we referenced in just a moment. Speak to David DeLucci later this hour on the SEC tournament. Next, Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you being with us. 9:18 right here on Jocks 94.5. Weather in Alabama, unpredictable. You know that. You've seen it. You know what it can be. It's why you need a Train. Voted America's most trusted HVAC brand right now, can receive up to a 10-year warranty on parts and labor on select Train home comfort systems. Find out more at Train.com. It's hard to stop a Train. All right, we were talking television shows, most popular, the years that we graduated. Damien, you are up. 2020 with your...
No. 2014.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while. 11 years.
Okay.
We have we got True Detective, Chicago PD.
All right, now you're going
Fargo.
Pay-per-view.
I mean, this is what all came out in 2014.
when we were kids, we couldn't afford HBO.
No, not what came out. The top shows. There's a difference. Not what came out.
The top shows, True Detective, Chicago PD. We still had American Idol in 2014.
Now he's not even going to what came out. He's just going to what they had.
What they had.
Just
Here's
this aired.
I'm just telling you.
What were the best shows? The most highest rated shows?
The top rated show in 2014-15 was, well, to be fair, Sunday Night Football. After that, you got a little bit of a dichotomy here. You got the young and the old. The Big Bang Theory tied with NCIS.
So CBS ruined the day.
Followed by Empire.
Empire was out back then?
Yeah. Thursday Night Football. So we're starting to see a trend there.
You're starting to see the live events.
Followed by
taking over.
Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, wow.
An oldie but a goodie.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you either had football or you just given up.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Can we
Madam
get the popular
Secretary.
people to dance with each other again? Good. Sign me up.
Madam
Sell some
Secretary and Blue
commercials. Go.
Bloods right there. Okay. All right.
Hey, just put another detective show on. Or 4. We've been running NCIS for 13 years. Put it in New Orleans. Nobody cares.
We'll make it
watch it.
work. Have we done anything in New Orleans lately? No? Perfect. Do that.
We're running out of cities. Put it in Memphis. Well, they got a reality show for that. All right, never mind. Cleveland.
But they want pretty stuff. Hawaii. NCIS Hawaii. Gold.
Hey, can you put a detective show with better weather? Got
it. Better scenery. Perfect.
What else?
Game of Thrones.
Once again, the shows that you had to pay to watch, we're not counting those.
Game of Thrones kind of counts.
It kind of counts, but
I mean,
all right, John, your senior year of high school.
I can't help it.
Just trying to make himself look better. Again, as we said in the break, he traded good TV shows for bad music. So
fair enough. I just had bad of everything.
Number 1, number 2, and number 3 in the 99-2000 season. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
That. I mean, at its peak.
Yeah, that right here. This is literally.
What was its peak? 2 years?
It had a 3-year run. That
3-year run.
3-year run.
Regis.
He came out with his own tie brand, everything. I'm like, hey, I'll be honest, I got sucked in for a while.
It was good, except once you got past the first round and you got to like $10,000 or whatever it was, like you didn't know any of the answers.
Just call your mom.
I'm gonna call Sheila, my neighbor. She'll know.
Well,
Imagine getting that phone call.
This is a science question, so I'm going to call Mr. Barnacastle.
How come they always answered?
Biology teacher.
How come they always answered?
You had to wait.
No,
you had to be on call.
There were people who put out information on it. You let them know, hey, we're going to be taping in these hours. I may be calling you. Who's got time for that though? Hey, you want to go play some golf? Actually, no. Greg's on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and I'm his 15th person he might call.
He might call me here.
I have to sit here for 7 hours.
How'd they know the number?
It's like you just gave it to him.
Oh, is that how it went?
You didn't hear it dial. Yeah, I just imagine. Yeah. Oh, what if you're on hold the whole time?
They should have thrown a curveball in there, though, and had one be busy or just not answer.
That would be amazing.
Ooh, that stinks. Sorry. You wasted your lifeline.
It was a good show.
So how are you and cousin Johnny getting along now? He didn't answer.
Remember the first guy that won the $1 million, he cheated?
We might as well ask the audience.
He didn't cheat.
Yeah, the first guy that won cheated.
How did he cheat?
I don't know. There was like this big conspiracy theory about it.
You're thinking of overseas.
I think you're thinking of The Price is Right.
No, it's definitely that wasn't cheating. He memorized all the values.
That's essentially your.
That's not cheating.
That's like your Little League bat question.
Tell that
if
to
it's
the
not
casino.
illegal, is it illegal?
Can't
if it's
card
banned,
count. Okay.
If it's banned, but it's not illegal,
It's not
illegal?
a rule. You don't have to, if you are going to take the time and you are that good from a memory standpoint to know what everything works, you know what I was going to say, but we'll resist that urge.
Yes, Mr. American
I'm
Idol.
not mad at it.
Yeah.
Listen. I have the UK version.
Yeah, it was that. It wasn't
Major
American.
Charles Ingram and his wife Diana, a college lecturer, accused and convicted of cheating by having somebody cough a signal to the correct answers.
Correct.
Well, that Houston Astros stuff.
No, it's true. There's a big
Monopoly.
No, he would go like this.
Chevrolet.
No, he'd go like this. He'd be like, "Oh, it could definitely be A, but I don't know. I feel like it's C." That was the giveaway.
So yeah, it was the Houston Astros.
Yeah, he'd go through all the.
Who's going through it and giving it to him then? The host?
No, the guy, in the crowd. He had someone in the crowd.
Wife, didn't you say?
He had a plant.
It'd be a bad day if somebody else walked in there with a cough.
Yeah. They should do it. They should definitely do it.
What is
during
Farfig
flu
Nougat?
season.
No, that's not it. Damn it. All right.
But I'll pull a Damien in the shows that debuted in the year I graduated.
Greg's
high
right
school.
though. We thought Jeopardy was hard.
Oh yeah.
After the
It
second
was
question, you
impossible.
didn't know any of those things.
Oh yeah.
Those questions were hard.
And then what did we think of when they asked the audience? I always thought like that was absolutely pointless.
The problem was they always did it after they said, "Oh, it could be B or C. I'm not quite sure." I'll ask the audience, and it was like 50-50 B or C. I'm like, well,
49-51
Yep.
every time. Like you just wasted that.
That was on you.
Ask the Audience was such a worthless.
I just remember thinking, if I was in the audience, what good would this do?
Nothing.
I don't even know
It's
which
just a
of the
survey.
4 answers is
Hey man,
best
what'd you
to
put?
try to choose.
Okay, all right.
Well, the worst is
It's
when they're
just
like,
a
"Oh
survey.
man, it's either C or D. I don't know which one. I'll go 50-50."
Yep.
And then
Yes, I put those down, yeah. Claiming it was predetermined.
And you
Yeah,
just
right.
gave him the 2 that it might be.
Yep.
Good job. Good job, guy. Okay, the other ones? What else was up there?
Well, the shows that debuted, I'll pull a Damien. Sopranos debuted when I graduated high school. Law and Order, SVU, West Wing.
So the only
Family Guy.
only top-rated shows were Who Wants to Be a Millionaire
Oh, no,
and
there
Sunday
was-
Night Football?
Oh no, there's some more after that. We got your favorite ER. Your
I'm
other
not
favorite
saying it's bad. I just never watched.
Still
it.
cooking.
Friends, Frasier, Monday Night Football was still cooking. 60 Minutes. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, the era in which John and I graduated high school, there was about a 10-year run of just put the same stuff on.
yes,
Or move it to a new city or inject a new character and call it something a little bit different. I.e. Frasier.
60 Minutes 2.
Frasier.
There
Wasn't
you go.
Frasier a one-off of Spin
How
City
does
though?
60 Minutes have a sequel?
Cheers.
Wouldn't
Is
that be
what?
120
Cheers.
minutes?
Frasier
No,
was
the second
Cheers.
60 Minutes. Not together.
Still feel like it's applicable. Do they have a halftime? They don't take commercial breaks. They take half times for 60 minutes too.
Also known as 60 Minutes Wednesdays.
Stop. Again, the creativity was completely lost for about a 10-year span there.
You don't say.
Hey, what character can we pluck from a popular show and just give them their own show? I don't even care if we write it. Can we just plug that in and go here?
Probably.
Green light it.
Interesting.
We got sponsors for it. Go.
Makes sense because everybody loves Raymond's in the top 12.
There you go.
The Practice is right there.
There it is.
The Practice. Gosh,
That
I
was a good
forgot
show.
about that. That was a good
honestly
show.
a good show.
Really good show. Wow.
What was Bones about? He solved mysteries or something? He's telepathic? I've never seen it.
No. She was like an
Which
anthropologist.
one am I
or
thinking
something.
of?
You're
Where-
thinking of Medium.
Yes, that's it. Sorry. Anthropologist?
Yeah.
And did what?
They solve crimes.
Via bugs?
Bones and stuff. They digged up bones, hence the name.
Digged.
And like the ladybugs told him who did it?
Sure.
Ladybug
we
is
watched this?
on a. No, I
We?
never watched
I ain't
this.
Uncle Phil.
I'm
I'm
We.
talking about society.
No.
Mankind. Watch that.
Mankind.
Yeah, we went on for 12
I
seasons.
watched him on Monday Night Raw.
Man,
Yeah, honestly, that's surprising that that's not up here.
I actually I felt like in our era,
It should have been, yeah.
there were a couple that should have been in there.
Like, that's honestly what I've been watching was like sports and wrestling.
But then you forget that network shows just
Yeah.
dominate. dominate ratings.
Back
All
in
right.
the day.
There it is. Stupid topic of the day. We will talk to David DeLucci about a non-stupid topic, which is the SEC baseball tournament, next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 9:32, Thursday, May 22nd. We're going to talk some SEC baseball tournament now. David DeLucci joining us on the Higginbotham hotline. David, do you guys sit around occasionally? I'm sure at one point you have, and talk about some of these major league contracts right now. We were looking at one of your coworkers' career earnings, and he had one really nice deal for about $48 million, which is about $20 million less than what Juan Soto will make this year. Like the Juan Soto money and a couple of these contracts, like just how incredibly out of this planet these things are.
Well, I try not to complain because I remember when the old timers were complaining about our salaries and the minimum salary when I was playing. I don't want to put myself in that position, but I would like to think that what was accomplished in the era that I played in set up Major League Baseball to where it is today and is allowing these guys to get these big contracts. You know, from a business side of things, you scratch your head and you wonder if these owners and these teams are ever going to get their money's worth. And I would have to say that the answer to that is no. But on the other end of it, if the teams didn't have that money, they certainly wouldn't be paying those players. So I think Major League Baseball is a monster money-making business. I think each team is making a ton of money, no matter what the owners will tell you. That's why they're selling these franchises for outrageous amounts. So good for the players, but on the business side of things, it's just astronomical what they're making. And what we when played last year was 2009. It's increased tremendously.
It's wild. It really is. So far, through a couple days at the SEC tournament, it's been highly entertaining. We've had some great games. We've had some long games. Bama, Tennessee was a marathon yesterday. But how do you think things have gone so far in Hoover?
I think it's been great. Coming in, we've got several teams that are on the quote unquote bubble. A couple teams like Kentucky was on the bubble as to whether or not they'd be able to make it into the NCAA tournament. We've got 3 or 4 teams with 16 wins that are trying to vie for a hosting position, most notably Tennessee and Ole Miss, that both won their first game. So the longer they stay in here, the better their chances are. And then you've got teams like LSU that are trying to stay in that top 8 seed. As they come down here, LSU's got a double bye, so we won't see them play their first game until tomorrow. So there's a lot on the line. Also, I think people get tired of hearing how good the players are in this conference, but the 25 Golden Spikes semifinalists, 8 of them are in the SEC. And this is a place where you can see them all play on the same field. They're up close and personal. There's kids here that love being around these guys and watching them. So it's really a great event. I keep calling it the greatest show on dirt.
David DeLucci joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline talking SEC baseball tournament. How different has the organization been in game based on what you've seen so far? So how long pitchers are going, how many pitchers are being used, maybe guys off the bench situationally, whatever that is, because now being a single elimination tournament, you knew that was going to change for some of these programs.
Yeah, so remember, these teams have a lot to look forward to in the upcoming weeks in the NCAA tournament. Obviously, the main goal is to win the national championship, so you want your players to get the reps in, but you want to stay healthy throughout this tournament. And then you have a team like Oklahoma last night, because it's always different once that first pitch goes out there. Your competitive juices start flowing, adrenaline starts flowing, and you want to win every game. And Oklahoma throws their ace, Kyson Witherspoon, who is a phenomenal talent, first-round draft pick, just unbelievable. He throws 107 pitches last night because they want to win. They want to move on in this tournament. So it's really neat to see, no matter what teams or coaches say, we just want to stay healthy. We just want to get our reps in. No, not over here. They want to win it because this is bragging rights. This is a great recruiting tool. And a lot of people think this is a tougher tournament here because of the talent than the next level in Omaha.
What do you make of the approach that these teams have had as it's all hand on deck? You survive, and the next thing you know, you've burned some arms, and now you're back up again tomorrow. So how have they adjusted pitch counts, and how have they adjusted just bullpen management here in these first couple days?
Yeah, it's the guys coming out of the bullpen really can't remember anybody throwing over 4 innings. But also you got to remember these are some really deep pitching staffs in the SEC. So you'll have starters that will be on a pitch count, and typically the magic number that I've heard has been about 80 pitches for starters, and then the bullpen guys, you want them to throw about 50 pitches is about what you're going to cap them on. And they'll come in and get their work done. Nobody's going to get taxed out. You'll also see some players that will come off the bench, whether it's a pinch hit role or a defensive replacement role, just to get some reps. But for the most part, they're trying to win this thing. They're trying to get work in, but they want to leave here as the SEC tournament champion.
You feel better or worse about Auburn today based on the break that they've now gotten?
Personally, as a hitter, I would rather be facing live pitching every day. So too many days off, to me, it disrupts your timing. It's good for for pitchers that they get the extra rest, but hitters just you want to get in there and you want to stay in the rhythm. So we'll see. You can take all the batting practice that you want. They're probably feeling better, but they're antsy because they want to get on the field, and they've been watching ball games. I've seen some of the players here at the stadium. They want to get out there and knock the rust off and be competitive. But it'll be better for the pitchers than the hitters, that's for sure.
Finally, for me, David, looking at kind of how things project and some of the teams that will be playing tomorrow for the first time, is it a massive advantage to be playing your first game on Friday, or is today and tomorrow kind of the same in your eyes?
Well, Fridays are better because most of these pitching staffs, the starting rotation has been set up all year long for your game one guy to throw on Friday. And I look at a team like LSU, it's definitely works in their favor because they have one of the best 1-2 pitching punches in the country with Cade Anderson as their ace and then Anthony Ianson in game two. Well, now you get to throw Cade Anderson on a Friday, which is his typically day to pitch, and Ianson on a Saturday, and that will be what regionals are going to be like for those guys. So you keep them on their regular routine. They feel comfortable. You monitor them when they go into the ball game. Hope you have a lead when they get that, and you can pull them. It benefits them. Everybody else has had to throw either bullpen guys or use starters early on in this tournament. It's harder to win 5 games in a row in this single elimination than it is just to win. Basically, LSU, if they stay in it, it's like a 3-game series for them.
David DeLucci joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline talking SEC baseball tournament. You'll see him before, after games. What was your Waffle House order that you gave last night? We saw that on the television here a little bit earlier.
All-Star special. Yeah, all-Star special, my go-to. To be honest, I've been known to hop in there two meals a day. Sometimes I love Waffle House. Eggs over medium, regular hash browns, bacon, crispy bacon, and that waffle's hard to turn down.
No, the waffle's incredible. I feel like it's a little bit fluffier now too, because my kids like to go. We go a bunch of Saturday mornings, and I'm like, this is not the waffle I was used to back in the day. It's a little different now.
It's the best. Every hunter and fisherman in the Southeast loves stopping at Waffle House before they get on the water in the woods. So it's definitely a treat for us.
Has your favorite for this tournament changed in the last couple of days?
No, I picked LSU to win it. I just think that they're sitting in a great position with the pitching staff. Vanderbilt, there's a chance that the Vandy boys take this crown because they elevate their play when they get here. But I gotta stick with LSU. I'm not going to waver for them. They're just too potent on offense. Their fans travel here. I mean, daggum, the LSU fans have been in RV since Tuesday, and they don't play until tomorrow. So it's almost like a home game for them when they get here. Crazy things happen, man. This is where we saw the pitcher, Todd Peterson, hit a pinch hit double to go ahead a few years ago. Fog rolls in, LSU gets some breaks. So there's magic when LSU plays here.
Absolutely. David, thanks for the time today, man. Enjoy the tournament today and the rest of the weekend. Hopefully we'll see you out there.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
There you go. David DeLucci of the SEC Network joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, talking some SEC baseball tournament. Some portal updates quickly when we come back next on Jocks 94.5. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. You remember the game that we thought Ole Miss was playing last year in the transfer portal, Greg?
What game?
Well, there was a game we thought Ole Miss was playing last year in the transfer portal. It was basically stack the running back.
Yes. Stack the back.
Similar game that they're playing this year. Actually, you could go by the same name. We'll tell you about that one in a moment. But surely they need Crocker Moving Services in Oxford because a lot of new folks moving in via the portal.
Yeah, it's a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys, and you can trust them in your home. And they need your whole home packed up and moved, your company headquarters moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room. These guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you've purchased and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's CrockerMovingServices.com. It's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
All right, so Rice quarterback Shalky Itrache.
You nailed that pronunciation.
Thank you. Has committed to Ole Miss. I'm not sure exactly what's happening here. I'm not sure that Shalky he did have 4 attempts, 2 completions for 19 yards. Oh no.
What?
As a sophomore in 2023, he was 2 for 4 for 19 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Hey, ball never hit the ground.
Tell me if you've ever seen this before. Quarterback rating of minus 10.10.
No, haven't seen that one. Hadn't seen the tape.
That's a first. Now
that's a new one.
In 2022, Shalky completed 22 of 41 for 197, no touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
All right.
You tell me we have signed a guy who in his career has 6 interceptions and no touchdowns?
Yeah, but what's the difference? It's all about perspective. You're going to get him at the rock bottom right now. There's only one way to go from a decision-making standpoint. You got to appreciate that.
It feels like the decision-making standpoint on bringing in quarterbacks might be at rock bottom.
We can fix him.
They've added Ferris State's Trinidad Chambly, Oklahoma State's Mai Aliaki Smith. How did that happen, by the way? I'm sorry.
What?
That's not real.
That's real.
Maaliuaki. So
Maliwake.
Maaliuaki Smith.
And
that feels intentional. And now they bring in Rice's Shalky Itrache. Why are they bringing in so many quarterbacks when you know who your starter is?
I don't have the answer. I'd love to help you, but I have no answer for you. None, son. None, son.
Also brought in UTSA linebacker Rodney Gross. So I don't know if they've hit the floor on bringing in quarterbacks or if this is it.
Why do they always bring in so many guys this time of year? Just now, last year it made sense. So look at their quarterback. Look at their running back situation last year. They were a little light.
Yeah, but it got extreme towards the end.
It did to the point where does this guy have eligibility?
Yes, we'll take you. Come in. There might be carries here, and we're paying.
Got him.
And they did. They got them all. So
every last one of them.
It felt weird.
Very.
Tell our listeners about Shannara Flooring. Never weird there.
Well, no. Fu and his company have been built on a foundation of trust and integrity, and you'll have a great experience when you shop with Fu. And the best thing is they have 40,000 square feet of Core-Tec flooring by Shaw in stock today. So you can go see it, touch it, feel it, experience it. You'll see that this Core-Tec flooring is amazing. Waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. It brings value to your home or business. You can put it anywhere in your home. Kitchens, laundry rooms, bathrooms, you name it. It's going to serve a great purpose, and it's going to be resilient as you use it and enjoy it installed in your home. You get 12 months financing with approved credit. So if you're thinking about making some changes to your floors, call who? Call Foo. Call them a day at 205-518-6423, or you can go online at fooandyou.com.
A couple of others. Sacramento State is getting former Texas and Nevada edge Christopher Ross. So again, Sacramento State, they're doing something because they're getting guys from bigger programs to come play there. UMass is getting Colorado running back Brandon Hood. UNA is getting Purdue edge Jamari Payne, 6'2", 272. And a couple of signings of late that we haven't mentioned for UAB, Oregon State wide receiver Jalen Helms, 5'10", 172. I'm going to guess slot.
You think?
This is a hunch. The Youngstown cornerback Israel Crozier, 6'1", 185. Kansas State offensive lineman Brandon Snee, 6'6", 316. Kentucky offensive lineman Daniel Mincy, 6'4", 290. Michigan defensive line Peter Simmons, 6'1", 285. So some of those are recent commitments to UAB. Florida's getting a commitment from Arkansas guard Boogie Flam. He's good. McDonald's All-American. He can play. So the Florida roster not going to take a ton of hits there as they continue to move forward. Now, help me with this one, Greg.
All right. I'll try.
This may be right in line with one that we discussed from our state to a different state very recently.
Yes.
Ohio State is taking quarterback. How did this kid not play basketball? Eli Brickhandler from Houston Christian. Have you seen the tape?
I have not. Do you have some? You have access?
I
want to buzz it?
You can probably go find it. Maybe. I haven't even tried to find Houston Christian football tape. But, I mean, is this just the same situation we talked about with the kid from Troy, that we're just bringing some bodies in for emergency situations and probably not even getting any NIL money? It's just that the fact you get to go play at Ohio State. No? Yes?
I don't see how it could be anything other than that. Like, you get to go play quarterback at Ohio State. That's pretty cool.
I'll do you one better. Cutter Stewart played in 12 games last year for Houston Christian. He threw for 1,500 yards, 13 touchdowns. Eli Brickhandler played in 8 games, was 38 of 77, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks, 557 yards. And he has committed to Ohio State, the Ohio State out of the portal.
I don't understand.
Can we get a general manager on the show to help explain some of the moves that we have to talk about on the show and how and why they're happening? Because I don't know what is going on in some places.
What I don't understand is how, like, how do they arrive at, all right, this is the guy we want? You know what I mean? Like, and I know that you're limited, but like, okay, this is the guy we're going after, brick handler. Like, I mean, he's the guy. Yeah, I don't ever know how that works.
It has to be a relationship or somebody who's known. 6'2", 195. Get him in. Sign him up. Next guy. Next man up. Next savage up. All right.
But is it like, all right, this guy's way better than this other guy that we're considering?
I can't. I mean.
I don't know. I just don't know.
Where there's not a guy at a higher level that's actually played, or a guy that's played a little bit more. A guy who's in the actual starter that you want to. All right. That's why we don't do this for a living.
No.
We just talk about it. Quickly, I have circulated to the group, and I've retweeted this from the Mac and Cube account. This gizmo in, where is this, Beijing?
Bangkok.
The world's first outdoor tilting adventure, 296 meters above the ground. How many feet is that? How many stories?
About 600 feet.
How many stories is that?
60.
It's up there. Basically, it's a giant lever, like a net you lay on, and they just tilt you out over the city. Get some cool thrills out of this. They put a heart rate monitor on you to see, are you scared or not? That sounds like a good reality show right there. Are you scared? And then they make you do dumb stuff like this.
Dude, I can't even watch the video.
You get anxiety just watching it? So you're saying you're not going to do it?
Not only am I not going to do it, I am deathly afraid of heights. I don't do heights. And I don't know why you have to give me such a hard time about it.
So another great show
you told me that I am
mention.
soft. You told me I was soft.
You are. But another great show that we didn't mention, Fear Factor. You would never do Fear Factor?
Never. In a million bajillion years. Ever.
What were they called? The Mongolian hissing cockroaches?
Yeah, I think so.
You're not going to eat those?
Dude,
it was only like 25,000, right?
Being able to eat something is a little bit more manageable than...
Oh, no, I know a guy
some of the other stuff.
in Hartsville, Alabama, that he and his wife went on it, and they had to do that. And the after effects, you don't want those.
It
did not end well.
I can't even imagine. That sounds fun, though.
No.
Go get it.
You wouldn't get in a coffin of cobras?
I might do that instead of...
I would do that before I would eat the cockroach.
Eat the cockroach.
I got nothing else for you guys. Sorry. 3-Man Front's next.